Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 300. Wow. Can't believe we're here. 10 years, 300 episodes. Jason Berland, Arizona High Test. Enjoy the pod. I know I did. You see more chassis. I'm not going to ask you to put somebody out, but nobody sees more chassis than you. Nobody. I would love to know who does. Because, again, going back to what I was saying, I mean, you list the chassis and they are in here right now. Is there a thing that you love about each chassis?
Yeah.
And then going back to that, do they all start to look like one another? Do they start to blend? There's
definitely components that I've seen where somebody will introduce a great idea and then everyone's got it. You know what I mean? I don't know a way around that. You know, it's like if it's cost you the same amount of money or even slightly more or whatever, if you can afford to sell a chassis with better stuff on it, why wouldn't you? And most of the chassis manufacturers I've seen have done certain things to not copy each other, but one dude's got a good idea and a lot of guys run with it, you know? And I don't think that's a horrible thing. There's things that we absolutely hate about every chassis, and there's things that we absolutely love about almost every chassis. I know that's very, like, I'm not... Here's the deal. I would love to own any aftermarket chassis and build a truck on it for myself. Like, they're all amazing, man. Like,
so if you... I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'll pick one. You want me to pick one? Want me to pick one?
Well, I mean, I think that... I don't think that that's fair to you.
Okay.
So... But yes, do it. Damn, son. Hey, guys, let me tell you about an amazing company, Mar-K. Mar-K.com. Mar-K is an Oklahoma City, born and bred company. What do they make for the Ford community? Let's start with beds. Their bedsides are made to original thickness. Tailgates, 53 through 72. They make a smooth and a licensed with the original Ford script, customizable. Custom wood floors, including oak. They've got your pine, and they've got some specialty exotics. African mahogany, teak, ash, Douglas fir. How about that pecan hickory or a Pennsylvania cherry? If you're looking for that special wood, think Mar-K. They also have customized bedsides and rear fenders that are also made in the USA. So whatever you're looking for to complete that rear bed, bedsides, tailgate, fenders, or that wood, Mar-K has you covered. Give them a follow on social media too.
Let me tell you what Melba Toast is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-to-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
What does that do? Did that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
What's up, C10 Nation? 300th episode. Like I've been kind of building up to it. We've had a lot of content coming your way. If you haven't had a chance, I've been just putting them out almost on the week. So you got some catching up to do if you haven't had a chance. 300, I thought, hey, let's go and hang out with Berland, Jason Berland, AZ High Test. He's in Chandler, down the road. Really a great guy. So I hope if you don't have any exposure to Arizona High Test that you'll listen and you really take it in and get to know Jason. And that was kind of the thought on this one is we might know what the guy and the crew put together, and we see it on social media. We see it when we go to shows. I'm in awe when I look at what they've been able to do and what Jason has been able to do, not only with the chassis and with what he's doing with his business, but when I look at the journey that he's had over the last 10 years, I thought, this would be fun. Let's bring this forward. So had a great time. I really would like to do a little bit more of this where I get out to the shops. Grinder, Brian Good, he met us over there. did a shop tour, and then we filmed the whole thing. So that will probably, I'm going to try to get it out by the end of the week. So we've got a long video. We've got a shop tour. It's awesome stuff. And again, I need to do more of this, getting out, sitting down with the fellas, getting out to the shop, getting the shop tours. So stay tuned on that. This coming weekend, you've got the original Show Me Shindig out in Missouri, October 12th. October 18th, 19th, over in NC, you've got the C10 Fall Revival. Been kind of talking to those guys, watching that. They say where they're at in North Carolina, they're good to go. They're in the clear. Our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to those in North Carolina, in Tennessee, in Georgia that have been affected by the flooding. It's unreal. It really is. So very sad, but the C10 Fall Revival is still a go. The boys are saying full steam ahead. So you've got a few different shows out east. Show Me Shindig, the original, and then you've got C10 Fall Revival. So plenty going on. I'm going to get into this one quick here because it is long. I talked to Jason after the fact, and he's like, yeah, I don't think I really knew you were going to ask me about me. So give him a little grace on when I'm kind of digging more on him versus maybe the company. And then give me a little grace because whether you realize it or not, I try to shut my mouth and listen. And over 10 years of doing this, I think I've gotten a lot better. Being patient, listening to the guest. And I think as the alcohol flows, my patience might shorten up and I just don't even realize it. So I do try to be more attentive and listen. But as this goes on, as I kind of checked it out, I'm definitely walking on him a few times and just jabbering away. So forgive me on that one. Another thing to bring up that's really is, last time I went out to Jason's shop during COVID, kind of post-COVID, where we were doing some in the shop live stuff, he said, hey man, I sold a lot of stuff and I did the shop tour. I said, dude, Jay, like, are you slinging this stuff? This is really nice stuff. People are going to want to buy this stuff because they see what you're able to do, and you know, they either want to take a shot at it, they want to practice at it and become really good at tube bending, making their chassis look as good as possible, whether that's air lines, fuel lines, all the different wiring. And he said, you know, we really don't buckle down on that. We're so busy, and if people order, then great. But I'm here to tell you guys, if you want to make your chassis look as good or as good as you can do, or depending on if you've got somebody who's talented that might have some experience or you want to play with it. But they do offer a lot of stuff over there. So he's got his Phoenix Industries fittings. He's got a few high test things that they offer. AccuAir, Aeromotive, Viair, Airlift, and so much more. So if you think about the offerings that they have from fittings, airline kits, tanks, billet clamps. I mean, we're all looking for better stuff. Hard lines, air management. They have a lot of stuff. ArizonaHighTest.com. Check them out. He probably doesn't even really want me to say that, but you'll see how humble Jason is. That's probably a big reason why I reached out to him and said, dude, let's get you on. Let's make you 300. So check out their website. And even if you don't buy anything, it's pretty cool just to see the different talent. It is cool to look at it. It's art, something that's going to get covered up. If you haven't been to maybe a get down or a reunion or show where Jason and his crew goes, check them out on social media, but you can also check them out online, ArizonaHighTest.com. All right, let's get into the show. Thanks for tuning in, episode 300. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. 300 episodes, 10 years, crazy. Have a great week, guys. Late. What up, what up? C10 Nation coming at you. Episode 300. Stoked for this one. We're sitting in the back. We're in the shop at AZ High Test. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, the plumber, Jason Berland. Jason, thanks for being episode 300, my guest.
I'm honored, man.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked for this one. I got a little something for you. It's not big, but we're going to start it off in style. So, of course, we're going to have some refreshments. So, you only need one cup. I don't know if Brian wants the other one. But let's start with this.
I think I know what's about to happen.
Yeah, you know. It's not that hard. I'm going to start with my version. You can have that version. And we're going to go in here like this.
I love it.
And then we're going to let you do what you do. So I heard that he likes beer-tinis, and so let's do it.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
All right. So what do we do here? How do we?
Well,
I mean, I love Bloody Marys, and I like beer.
then you're in for a treat.
So do you pour the full beer,
Well,
or most of the beer, and then is that amount of olives?
you
gonna
know
work?
what? There's really not a good ratio.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
as long as
no
there's beer, there's no ratio
beer and
needed.
olives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that down.
Yep.
I'll let you do the honors on that, and then I'll know.
It's gonna get weird without a fork. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh,
that
I
right
don't
now.
care. I
Right.
saw you wash your hands after you. Well,
I did.
before you peed. So you washed because you were dirty because
Yeah,
we got
and then
here,
after.
and then you peed, and now. But I don't care. Hey,
You need a little juice. Too.
yeah, a little juice.
Tiny,
please.
not a lot.
Oh, okay. So if you notice, he gave me 2 olives, shaken, not stirred, and
This isn't weird at all, by the way. This is normal things.
yeah, this is good. I'm not weirded out by it. Let's see.
Someone
if,
called it a Berland beertini. I think Josh
Oh.
Parker.
Yeah, I'll take it. Let me see if the camera guy needs anything. Would you like a refreshment?
Brian, do you need an
No,
olive?
he's got his agua. Would you want
Green olive?
would you want an H2 olive? No? Okay. Cheers.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cheers to you.
There you go. We got a Berlin beertini.
What's not to love about that?
That is good. Wow, the beer is cold too, so
Which
that
is
worked
nice.
out. All
But
right,
I'll
so-
tell you what. Here, after about 5, 6, 7 of these, you just keep adding olives.
Yeah.
So you get a little snack in between too.
Oh, so you don't munch down those olives as you go?
I let them ride.
No, I'm.
All right. You're a new olive
I have
kinda guy.
I have no patience, so I'll just. Yeah, when I make a
right.
Bloody Mary, I'm usually pretty much down with eating all the veggies and then finishing off. But here's to it.
Yeah.
Episode 300, 10 years of C10 Talk. It's unbelievable. And again, he's honored, but I'm honored to sit down at the new shop. And he just had a new baby girl. So we've got a lot of things to go and talk about. But we did a shop tour. So that will, I guess, proceed this, even though we led with that because we knew we would be drinking. Let's start. Okay, so how would we normally start? First time I interviewed you, we did the air management. You were working at Switch. We came by during COVID, your old shop. That was fun. And I just thought, 300, I feel like from the truck scene perspective, you've done a lot for the scene, but I don't know that a lot of people really know who you are as a human, as a man, as a husband, as a father. So who is Jason Berland?
That's what this is going to be about.
Yeah.
Who I am.
Well, a
Okay.
little bit.
Well,
If you know my attention
give you a
span, it'll be
backstory.
all over the place. So yeah, let's go. You grew up like right where I live now, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Gilbert. So
Yeah.
go from there.
Yep.
Take it from where you want.
okay.
I've got a beertini. Oh, you know what I always like to say too when I'm with you? Suck it, stoner. So where do we start?
Well,
Did you go to like elementary school in Gilbert too?
I did.
Were you born and raised?
I was born in Michigan, but I lived there maybe like 6 months. So
Okay.
I can't really
And then
claim
your folks
that.
moved?
Yep. So my dad worked for General Motors.
Okay.
So came out here working for the Proving Grounds, right?
All right. What did he do for GM?
Engineering.
Wow.
He was around during like TBI days and kind of into port fuel injection days. So some development stuff there.
Good times.
Yeah. Yep.
Corvette stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, I don't know
Yeah.
the ins and outs of it, but yeah.
When did you guys move here? 80s?
Yep. 86.
Yeah, that's when I moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
86. August of
I remember
86.
that. No,
Yeah.
but
He doesn't remember that we didn't meet then. He just remembered that I told him we moved at the same time.
yeah.
Okay, so your dad worked for GM.
Yep. So how do we make this a story?
Well, where'd you go to elementary school?
Burke, dude. I'm Burke.
Oh,
Actually, I
wow.
went to quite a few.
Oh,
Yeah. But I ended up being a Burke Bobcat, dude.
nice.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gilbert Jr. or
Gilbert
was-
Jr., Gilbert
Yeah.
High.
All right. So for the audience, I mean, that's like right where I live now. That's almost where my kids would go to school. And from Toroville, it's not that far either. So
Yeah.
the funny that in our scene, we have so many different people that are all from this East Valley area.
For sure. It's
Yeah.
it is very cool.
So how about this? Growing up, did you always know, and did you like wrenching? Did you blow your bike apart, blow the wagon apart? What kind of got you into that?
I definitely, I think we got started at a young age racing go-karts, you know, and to be completely honest, like I loved racing and I wasn't really into working on it, you know. That sounds weird, but that's just the honest truth. And then I really got into BMX racing, and then just bikes in general, and I did like working on those. So I think that's where I started learning how to like run a wrench on my own, you know, kind of unguided. And
did you go to Chandler a lot?
Yeah, Chandler BMX.
Did you know Seth back then?
You know what? I didn't. I think I met him through the automotive stuff later in life.
How about Bowman? Because he was into that. You guys are buds. No?
No, never Bowman.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
do you find that it's funny that a lot of guys come from the BMX world? I also think they come from the Mini world and the Volkswagen world. Like, it's funny if you did this family tree or this C10 tree, classic truck tree, and you kind of did it, it'd be funny the lineage of where people, and I know a lot of kids in the 80s, we all kind of grew up the same. It was a small world back then. Everybody was going to Miller's Outpost. You were putting stuff on layaway, Kmart, and those were good times at the time. But we all have kind of come together, and you found that this is something that's common for people, is these amazing vessels of trucks, and we all like them.
For sure. I think a lot of that has to do with the style of things and lifestyle of things. So like BMX was kind of like an alternative sport, you know, and like getting into vehicles, air ride was like not, to me it was a cool thing to do, but it was not like the normal thing to do. You were kind of like an outcast to be into air ride. You were kind of like, you know, a little more punk rock, or, you know, like it was very alternative to do
you feel like that was the time though? So what year did you graduate?
04.
Okay, so I feel like, because I graduated in 92, that when you were doing that would be one of those things where I could see you being at the front end of it, whereas for us, we had no concept of air ride, right?
Yeah.
A 4.6 drop was like,
right.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, he went 5.7.
Right.
Like, holy shit, right? So then you see the CK truck starting to come out, and you see that evolution. What was your first truck?
My first truck was the other way. I was four-wheel drive, so 76 Blazer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So,
were you a GM family because your dad was a GM guy?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we grew up building vehicles. I mean, not full-blown restoration from the start, but, you know, I think really what got my dad was the fuel injection stuff. So, like the Blazer, we put a tune port injection, which was like the hottest thing at the time.
Sure.
My brother did a 70 Chevelle that got a LT one, not the modern-day LT one, but the one after TPI, right? So we just kept swapping these vehicles to the latest and greatest GM motor, you know, and like it was always a blast, and it was always like it always just worked really, really well. And so I think that's what got me going. And I don't, it didn't happen on purpose, but you know, the first truck I ever did was probably like 98, 99, and we put an LS1. It was like a motor from a Camaro or you know, Corvette motor. There wasn't like, at the time, at least not that I knew of, there was no like swap harnesses or like, so we would just take the whole car.
So that would be like a fourth gen Camaro, like a brand new style. If you look at your, because that body style changed, I think in 93.
I'm not too hip on my Camaros, man.
I think Camaro is 93, 94. No, I graduated in 92, so it might have been 91, 92. But either way, so I bet it was that fourth gen Camaro.
Yeah, same body style.
Yeah.
Same body style. They went through the LT1 in those, and then they got an LS1 eventually. I'm pretty sure that's right.
So your brother's a few years older than you?
2 years, yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so that's kind of cool to have an older brother.
So he didn't even have a chance. When we were doing his car, there was no LS. So he had the LT. That was cool, you know. And then so I think, you know, just kind of growing up in the garage and, you know, wrenching with my dad and my brother, that's kind of.
What a cool thing to think that your dad had such an insight on that type of stuff. Like, you didn't really have a chance either, right? Your dad's like, here, this is what we're going to do. Was there ever a time when you look at growing up like that, you didn't want to be out there doing it, and now you look back and it's probably one of your fondest memories?
Yeah, for sure. You know, like, you know, you're holding the flashlight for your dad. That's never fun, right?
Yeah.
So there's those times, but when I was young, I really did not like working in the garage. Like I was just not, you know, and then, you know, I got to be like 9, 10, 11, and it's like I really started coming around to it, you know. And then, me and my neighbor would like build go-karts and little mini bikes and just always in the garage. Like my parents were gone, which, in our generation, like parents didn't have this like helicopter supervision. So like as soon as they would leave, we're like, let's get the power saw out. Let's just start cutting shit. And, So we're always in the garage, always building something,
Do you, when you look back on that, let's say like 8th to 9th grade, did you have a vision of where you thought you would be in 20 years?
No. I think around, time of getting your license, so, 14, 15, 16, I started really getting into trucks. And there was one truck, which this dude, Travis Prius, he built a truck, and that truck really caught my eye. I was like doored. Like this thing was a C10.
Game changer? Is that... No. That one's I know which one you're talking about.
IF Customs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, like I was probably asking Jeeves at the time, and that truck would pop up, dude, and like I had never seen anything like it, and there was like this California vibe to it, and I fell in love with that truck. And like
because that is what's I wonder if Griner knows his car club, but is it not on the ground? Oh, I'm forgetting what his car. I could see the picture of his.
I don't know why.
His logo right there.
Down to Earth, DT.
Down to Earth.
Yeah,
Down to Earth. Yep. That's what it is. Down to Earth. And him and his dad built that.
Yeah.
So that was popping up on your feed, and then you're like, I got to have it.
Yeah, I think I probably found it through the forum. I can't say that for sure, but
there was really not much else besides magazines.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe a magazine.
I just remember seeing pictures of that thing like rolling like through some hills, and the headlights are like on the ground, and it just
Down to Earth. You're right.
Yeah.
And he's in Tennessee right now. So that bug got a hold of you. And did you have multiple jobs? I know we saw the Napa helmet out there. You were working at the Gilbert. For us, for the audience, we just had Chad Day on. He owns 4 different independent Napas. One of the Napas that's right by our house is the Chandler or the downtown Gilbert Napa.
Yep.
And you worked there.
Yep, that was my first job.
Wow.
Napa parts driver. I was thinking about this the other day, applying for my first job. And it's really funny. Like I would love to meet this guy. Not that I'm vindictive or anything like that, but it would just be cool. So when I was 16, I applied at a Big O Tires. And it was like, hey, I've never had a job.
The one on Lindsay and Warner.
Yeah, Lindsay and Warner. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I grew up building cars like with my dad, and like here's like a picture of my brother's car that we put together and my Blazer. And
first of all, I don't know that it was like this. It was like it
was a Polaroid. Yeah, a picture. Yeah, it wasn't on my phone for sure, dude. But the funny, he was just like, yeah, you're not experienced enough, and you can't work here. And I was like, okay, all right. Well, I'll go to Napa. I can't work on cars, but I could deliver the parts to fine fellas like you. So
yeah, it's funny how that works out, right? And now that guy's probably still sitting at the Big O Tires.
Who knows?
But that fuel, I think we forget about that fuel. That it's like,
it definitely pissed me, dude. I left there livid. I'm like, what do they want? Like, let me just break down some tires for you, dude.
He doesn't even know. So at that point, you get into Napa. How long did you work in Napa? Just tighten that boy up.
That's a good question. Maybe year, 2 years, something like that.
That's pretty good for a first job.
Dude, we put those trucks, I got a buddy a job there, and he was just straight reckless. Like we put those Napa trucks through some abuse.
What a fun job, though.
Oh, it was a blast.
You get to go around
It
all
was
the
a paid
shops.
vacation. Yeah, no, I zero regrets, zero complaints.
I don't think they would even hire a 16-year-old kid to
Why
do that
would
anymore.
they?
No, the insurance liability would
Dude, they gave my buddy who was just out
they didn't
reckless.
even check his license or like his record.
They gave him a long bed work truck with a 5.3. Like, we found out every single trip we ever took it on that the governor hit 98 miles an hour. Like, it is reckless.
Hey, your parts will get to you on time. Whether or not Jason and...
Whether they're still in the bed of the truck is another question.
Your buddy that you were building go-karts with and your buddy that you worked at Napa, are you just still hang out with them, or do you still run into them every now and then?
Yeah, here and there. And there. Yeah, my buddy, the Napa driver, he moved up to Payson area.
He's not in jail or anything?
No, actually, I think
tickets.
He became a cop for a little while, Gilbert PD. So let's
knew all the secrets.
Yeah. Let's. I think we did just put that on record. But no, he wasn't really speeding.
Statute of limitations. You guys, if everybody didn't have,
I don't know how that works.
20 years. Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Good.
Okay.
It happened before
story time then.
Yeah, it happened before camera phones. So after Napa, what happened?
Good
If you
question. I
worked
worked
there
at a
for 2
lumber
years,
yard,
you-
Red Rock Lumber, man.
Oh, Red Rock Lumber.
Mm-hmm. That was a
the one
great
by the
job.
Golf course.
Yeah,
right behind the
yeah,
golf course. Yeah.
Dude, there was times because it was like, you know, we were driving forklifts and building house packages out of lumber, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was times in the heat of summer, it's like 120 degrees outside in the asphalt. It's like you're literally melting, and it just I think I needed that because I was, you know, like it kept me out of trouble, dude. Like if I wanted to go out and have a good time, the night before I had to be to work at 5 a.m. And, you know, like when it's 120, you still got to work. So that was probably really good for me to have that job because that was a hard job. And I think that job made me realize, like, I need to get somewhere with air conditioning. This is crazy,
Yeah.
you know, but I made it a whole summer there, maybe even 2. Yeah. And then,
Became a forklift specialist.
yeah. Dude, we used
That's
to do
a lot
this.
of fun.
This is going to be story time. Keep
Yeah.
rolling these beers back.
Oh, I got a lot of Bud Lights. I brought a whole 12 pack.
We used
for
to
you.
do this thing where at lunchtime on the forklifts, we'd see who could flip a quarter, like with the forks, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So, yeah, time it perfectly. Oh, man, it was.
And you were a kid back then. I always thought I did a forklift. First got trained at Empire Caterpillar, and I love driving a forklift, man. I'm surprised I never rolled one because they could definitely get squirrely.
They tip quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very safe until they're not.
Is that lumber store still there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I'm trying to think. Is it Cocopelli, that golf course?
Cocopelli.
Yeah, right there. There's across the street's a good burnout place. But okay, I digress. So you're at Napa. You're a kid. You're hustling. You're building trucks. At what point, you graduate? What do you do?
Well, I went to college longer than most doctors. I didn't do very well in college.
You just kept going?
Yeah, I just kept going. I started out actually going to film school.
Okay.
And I thought that was really cool.
What was the deal?
Technology advanced really quick at the time, and I had invested a lot of time and money in what was like the cool thing. There were mini DVs at the time, and they were like HD. And then like overnight, those went away, and I'm like, I'm out. If this is how I have to, like, I didn't have
keep up.
Yeah, it was really like.
So this is
it broke my heart,
05-ish?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
Okay.
05, yeah.
So where's film school? Like in California or something?
No, actually Scottsdale Community had a
okay.
good program there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Artichokes, fighting artichokes.
Fighting artichokes. Yeah. So I did that, and then like
just so you know, the mascot of Scottsdale Community College is an artichoke. You can look it up. There's a reason, but it's
it's like pink and mint green colors.
Yeah. They wanted to make it so it was almost like so bad that nobody would go there or something. I don't know. Either way,
I don't think they wanted a
artichoke.
football team or something.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I don't know, but I maybe did a semester there, and then like I did the Tour de la Community College. So just trying all of them.
Yeah, MCC, Chandler Gilbert's right there by the house.
But I had a job.
What were you doing?
Dude, I did finish carpentry during that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So doors, trim.
Yep.
All right. How did that come about via Red Rock, via lumber, or how? Your dad,
It was a friend of a friend. His uncle or cousin, third cousin, owned a business, and I just started doing it, and I kind of fell in love with that. That was a rewarding job.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, and so I'm just throwing a shot that was like 07. Or if you think about before the recession, 08.
Yeah,
so let's go 06, 07.
I carried that recession.
So you're building houses. You're building some nice houses, doing some lumber, and did you ever build a house and think, am I ever going to get in a house like this?
I never built a house.
Well, worked in a house.
Yeah. Oh man, we did some crazy houses. Yeah, some of them were very, very high end.
Yeah.
Like just elevators and crazy.
Yeah.
Very, very nice stuff for sure.
So that was rewarding from the perspective of you wake up. You stock your truck, you got your tools, and you're at the job site. And you're doing piecework or labor. How'd that work?
I was commission based. Yeah. So like whatever he sold the job for, I think I got 10%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a decent, for a college kid, it was a decent living. And I would typically work 40 hours a week. And so that's probably difficult. I don't know what the standard is. You know what I mean? Like most of my friends either like didn't go to school at all and worked and did really well for themselves, or they would go to school and didn't work, or like worked like 10 hours a week. So it's like I was kind of somewhere in between. It's like I'm trying to do both. Maybe that's why I didn't succeed at that. I don't know. But yeah, school didn't go so hot for me.
I did the 10% thing. I did garage cabinets after I got out of paramedic school, so I was still working for the fire department. And what I realized is the guy selling the job was getting 10%, and then I was getting 10% to do the labor.
His job was easier than
And I was
yours.
like, dude, I need to be – and I never did get into it, which
Yeah.
I laugh, but I was like, I want to sell the jobs. Like
Yeah.
this guy, I'm here for 8 hours putting this garage cabinets in, and this guy was here for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I believe our dynamic was exactly the same, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it. I really enjoyed that job, and I got to drive all over, see cool houses.
What was the job that you hated? Your worst job ever? What job did you hate?
I think the lumber yard was.
Just 'cause of the heat?
I don't know that I hate it, dude. I guess I kind of enjoy working hard. Like if I'm drenched in sweat, I'm good with it, you know. But that looking back, like that was rough.
Did you ever know the Yosts from Gilbert High?
That name doesn't ring a bell.
All right, there was a Dusty and there's a whole family, but I did concrete, and that was a lot of work for them.
Yeah.
Roofing and concrete, but when you're getting up and leaving to go to work when your buddies are coming home from partying, like you said, you got to be at work at 5:30, so good times. All right, so you're going to school, you're doing the community college tour de college, and then what?
Well, we'll make this area of my life quick. I got married. Bad idea. And how do I be nice about it?
Well, you have
so that there was her father and I had like a little trucking business, and I did mechanic work for him. And
well, hold on. You just went from being a trim carpenter.
Yeah. Overnight, dude. It was really
so you're
bizarre.
you're trim carpentering.
Yeah.
You meet a girl. She's your girlfriend, and he owns and says, "Come on in."
Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say he was like owner operator, so he had like a truck. He might have had more than one, but I don't know. Maybe he did.
We know how the marriage worked out. How did the trucking business work out?
So you bought a C10, and it either had AC at one time or it wasn't even an option. Well, Vintage Air has the solution for you. Their sure-fit kits are designed to place the evaporator and hoses behind the dash for a factory clean look. The Vintage Air SureFit kits are the best value and the most completely engineered air conditioning system you can install in your C10. Damn, son, the choice is obvious. VintageAir.com.
So you're thinking about converting your truck from a long bed to a short bed. Here's what you need. Brothers Trucks long bed to short bed conversion bracket. Includes laser-etched steel templates with all the holes clearly marked and steel inner C-channel braces. It also includes front-to-rear brake lines, shorter parking brake cables, hardware, and all the detailed instructions telling you what to do. You can also jump on Brothers' YouTube channel for a detailed, step-by-step video to make the process easier. Brothers Trucks has an easy solution for you, and they even offer bedside parts as well. BrothersTrucks.com.
Classic Performance Products, CPP back. Joe, let's talk X10 spindles. Go.
One of our most popular parts through the years has been our 2.5-inch drop modular spindles. Really popular part. Well, we've kind of taken that to the next step. We've emulated late model Corvette, Silverado, Chevy technology into our new X10 drop spindles. They use a steel hub, sealed bearing hub, really strong piece. It's oversized bearings. Definitely great for a guy using big brakes, big wheels, which I'm sure all your guys are.
You need a new spindle anyways. You're going to lower your truck. You're running a bigger wheel, a bigger brake. CPP's got it for you with their new X10 spindle. Joe, as always, thank you. CPP, classicperform.com. It's classicperform.com.
Sniper 2. Are you ready to switch out that old carb for a modern EFI system? Well, Holley has a solution for you. The all-new Sniper 2. This new system was redesigned from the ground up. Available in tumbled polished or black powder coat, and there's 3 available tuning interfaces. A classic 3.5 handheld, a 5-inch mountable, which includes a GPS speedo or a Bluetooth module so you can use your smartphone. Another big bonus is the Sniper 2 has a built-in transmission control module. So if you're looking to upgrade to a 4-speed overdrive, 4L60, 4L80, you now can with ease. Holley.com to get started today, Holley.com.
Marquet has been in business for over 40 years. It all started in the original owner's garage. From humble beginnings of a couple parts in a garage to a 2-building manufacturing facility making over 6,000 parts, Marquet has grown to be one of the country's premier truck parts manufacturers. They have made their original parts from the original trucks. All parts are manufactured in-house in Oklahoma City, USA. They offer quality parts built by Americans for old American-made trucks. So when you're looking for body moldings, bed strips, bed wood, and so much more, think Marquet. That's mar-k.com.
I don't know.
We know how the marriage worked out. How did the trucking business work out?
It was a good learning experience. That's a crazy field. We had a crazy group of guys, but a good group of guys, really.
Were you wrenching?
Oh, you wouldn't believe this, dude. So Driven Speed Shop.
Yeah.
That was where we had our yard.
Right
that was
there.
our yard.
So
his shop was our. That's
by
where
the septic yard.
Yeah, by Overlease.
What's the? Overlease. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our
yard.
Yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really bizarre that he's in there. It's very cool.
Do you ever go over there?
It kind of gives me nightmares.
Because there's the concrete storage yard there there too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. But back then, and for the audience to understand Gilbert, where he's from, I'm initially from Mesa, but the Valley, I mean, I went to Chandler Gilbert in like 92, and it was a little double wide. Now it's a huge community college. So we've seen so much growth in Phoenix that all this stuff was just rural.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it's just, you wouldn't even know the rural perspective. So what did you go, I mean, if you think about, okay, so you're a Napa kid, just slinging parts, having a great time, just, running around. Then you go to Red Rock and you're, putting lumber packages together for folks and loading up trucks. By then, who knows? Did you have your CDL where you delivered?
No, not at that time.
Just at the yard.
Yep.
And then you became a trim carpenter. And then what are you doing for the trucking guy, for the father-in-law?
Well, in the beginning, it was mechanic work.
I know, but how'd that come from? Because you and your dad were wrenching?
What's really funny is
you haven't been a mechanic yet.
We
the big old tire guy wouldn't even hire you.
Yeah, he wouldn't hire me. Okay.
He wouldn't even hire you. So now all of a sudden you're a certified.
We skipped a part. So,
could you put my olives in? Your hands are dirtier.
Now it's a dirty martini. We need a spoon or a fork or something.
We haven't even got to like a tenth of the pod. I can't.
Olives
I don't
gone.
think I can. That's good. I can't afford Grinder's overtime rate. This is going to be brutal.
So, all right, we missed a step. So somewhere along the way, I started building a truck. I really love the 6772 trucks.
Your truck that you have.
I still have that
stepper.
one. So me and my dad did that one. That was like a cool father-son project.
Maroon
we finished
stepper.
it. Yep, and that one had an LS. And it's like, man, the LS was awesome.
6970?
It's dressed that way, but 72.
Okay, so it's a 72 stepper. It's maroon. It's got a gray interior.
I think it's Bud Light blue. Very similar.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was maroon.
It's not. It's a color off a Lexus IS300.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you said that. For some reason, I did think it was maroon. Okay.
It hides. It doesn't come out.
Yeah,
very
it does
often.
hide.
But it's a time capsule for me. I'll keep it. Like it's very.
Okay, so you and your dad build this truck.
Yep. So we built that truck, and then after that, I got bored and I wanted to do another one. But like those trucks were like really expensive, like $2,000-$3,000 at the time. I couldn't afford that. So you got to go cheap and get a square body. So I found a square body that was like already painted, and the dude, I think he drag raced it because it had slicks on it in the rear and skinnies up front. But like it was just a nice truck, no motor, no training. I'm like, sweet, we'd do the LS swap thing. So that one,
because you have a guy for that. Yeah, Dad.
Oh yeah, well, so this one I wanted to do on my own, and really air ride. I wanted air ride, so I thought I knew what I was doing, and I really digging on the form 6772 form. At that time, that was probably around the pinnacle of like the suspension thread of that form, and anyone that knows that form or lived it back then. It was a very exciting time. Like it was like how most people would see Instagram or social media now. Like the form was that for us then.
Well, and the cool thing about that, credit to Nate, is Nate. Yeah. I feel like Nate never welded because he was on the form. He was answering questions. He was. But what a way to build a business. He built. He owned that suspension thread, and I think he even had like a little vending thing on there, and he put air suspension to that level with the drop member.
Absolutely.
On the map.
What's really interesting is I'm learning because I've only really been in this scene. Like I've only really done C10 trucks. And like, I never cared about Hondas or even like a late model Camaro. I just don't care. I like C10 trucks. That's what I've always done.
Nice work.
But what's
I'm with you.
What's interesting though is like getting to know other people. There's other automotive industries out there, and a lot of them start that way.
Yeah.
Where like a dude on a forum will kind of just like make a business out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's super uncommon. It's there's like this person to person vibe to using the internet, you know, which back then was kind of weird.
Well, like,
you know, like it wasn't like everybody had it on their
we
phones.
started Mason, for example, as a Bronco Ford guy, and
They're all weird.
And well, they're weird, but there is plenty of parallel universes, even though we don't don't like to think that there is. Besides the C10 world that we love and live in, the Ford guys are doing the Ford thing, and the Bronco guys, and it is the Minis and there's all these little sections of people, and you get to see them at different truck shows where people are coming together. But it's we got to get that thing tighter. We got to get grinder on it. It's slipping on you. So, did you build the square body?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
What year? Round eye or slope nose?
Let's see. It was a 77 dressed as an 80. I always liked at that time, I liked the square headlights.
Yep.
Right? And so I did I would call the round fender.
So 80 are round square lights, though.
They are.
Okay.
But they were square.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
I thought that was cool. In hindsight, not a huge fan of that now. and I don't mean to break your heart. I'm not a huge fan of the square bodies in general. Like that's not my jam.
Yeah.
I don't dislike them, but I chose that truck because I could afford it.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to have bagged a 6772.
Sure.
But so yeah, that one got on bags and then eventually wound up with like Porterbuilt on it. And then cool little 5.3.
What kind of air management? I mean, you were ahead of the time then.
This was brass valves and valves and a switch box.
And simultaneous to you doing trucker stuff?
There you go. Now you're tying it in. I was coming back to that. Right. So I wanted it to be safe. And I'm not taking everybody's advice on how to do this or that, right? Like, so I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure semi trucks have airbag suspension. And I'm just going to, whatever they do, I'm going to go down there and like look at the fittings they use and all that. And I'm going to make my truck that way. I'm pretty sure I looked at the brakes. I didn't know the different, like I didn't know what I was looking at, but there is air hoses going to the brakes. So I was like, okay, cool. So I plumbed my whole truck like a semi truck. So that's kind of how,
that's the start. That's the start.
Yeah. I wanted it to be safe. So I'm like, if a semi truck can go down the road and not kill people, I want to do that too. So I borrowed inspiration. What's really funny is semi trucks have massive airlines on them, so I plumbed my whole truck in 1/2 inch. Not that because I wanted to hop off the ground or anything. That was a byproduct, but that's what brakes on a semi truck were. So that's what I did.
Did you think that was all that was kind of available because you were looking at the semi truck and you didn't know any better, or was it like, hey, it's got to be good. If it's good for these guys, it's got to be great for a truck?
Yeah, that was my thought. In hindsight, a lot of guys were using 1/2 inch airline at the time, you know, because people were like, hydraulics, air. There was like this weird section where air wanted to be hydraulics, you know, and so it probably wasn't weird at the time to use a 1/2 inch valve and 1/2 inch airline. But yeah, it was all you made your valves, you know, they were just brass blocks,
sure,
diaphragm valves, and you build your manifolds and
manual switches and manifold. And,
I did electric valves in mine. So, but yeah, you'd have a switch box riding with you in the seat, you know? Yeah.
I would think too, back then when people would see it, your buddies that you're hanging out with, they, now you being married, and I don't know exactly when Michaela comes into the mix, but
McKenna, but yeah.
When she comes in, people are copying you because they're like, oh dude, Berland's got air. And then, did you ever did that catch on where people were like, help us build an air management system?
It's so funny, man, because a lot of my buddies at the time, I guess age-wise, a lot of them were like union linemen and stuff. So like they're starting to do pretty well, right?
Yeah.
But they were really into off-road trucks, as was I. But I learned when I was like 20 years old. I think I did this little S10, had a roll cage in it, and then like I got on Craigslist and bought 4 shocks that were like $10,000. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to finish this truck, dude. Like I have shocks and a roll cage and I'm broke. Like this, I could admit that it wasn't going to happen. But all my buddies were really into the like off-road stuff. So like some of them were cool. Some of them were like really cool, but not, dude, no one had a fucking trophy truck when you're 20 years old, you know? And so like a lot of them were building like these really extravagant vehicles that weren't getting done, you know? So like my truck was very basic And I don't want to say top of its game. Absolutely not. But it was a sick truck. It was LS swapped. It was bagged, like shaved door handles. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But
it was done.
And it was done in driving. So yeah, I think my buddies looked in like, hey, like there's a more affordable sport here, you know? So yeah, some of them kind of came over and in fact are still playing with air ride stuff now, you know? But I think in the fabrication world, there at least at the time there was a bridge between the off-road fab guys and I'm going to call it mini truck guys, you know, like I was doing full size. I wasn't really into mini trucks, but it was the same concept, dude. It's a guy in his garage with a welder and a grinder and like, let's see what we can do.
You know, I think, good point. I think a lot of the mini, you miss the mini era.
Yeah.
Based upon just your age. So,
I was never a car club guy.
Well, if you were just about I feel like maybe more my age where you're 10 years younger, the minis, the Isuzus, the S10s, some Toyotas, but they were cheap and they were affordable, and the hard bodies. Right. Oh my God, a hard body was like, I don't know how that didn't put Nissan out of business, just because the value and that truck will run forever.
Right.
And they made them cool because they did what they did. So the minis is kind of funny. By the time you get to it, you're like, hey, you're almost like that NBS era where you're like, okay, well, I've got full OBS access because I can afford all this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a 77, 80 square body, it'd be funny to think what you paid for that truck, your square body.
$1,400.
$1,400.
Full paint job, dude. Nice wheels, lowered. Yeah. And what's crazy, the LS package I got for it, everything on Craigslist now, so it's got 40,000 miles. No, it doesn't. It's got 400,000 miles.
Yeah.
This motor, dude, he goes, hey, it's got 42,000 miles. From an old dude, I paid $1,100, engine tranny, and like it literally did. I mean, it was brand new. Like, it sucks. You can't touch that stuff for it. But, you know, that was very budgety. And I back in the day, I mean, I probably still had $20,000 in the truck, roughly. Steep number, I know.
Yeah. But you're making money.
But dude, I'm building my own LS harness. Like I'm not buying one. They were at the time. I knew they existed at the time. You could buy like an LS swap harness, but I converted the stock harness on my own. It cost me $4 at AutoZone.
How did you do that though? Did you go on the forum? Did you just to figure it out?
I'll give my secret away, dude. There's a website called lt1swap.com.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's called LT1, but that's how you could go on there. And he gives you the very smart guy. I've never met him, but give him tons of credit. He gives you pinouts for every GM computer and tells you if you need it or not. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just followed directions.
Wow.
So
I feel like though you're not giving yourself full credit, like to even have the patience and the fortitude to go through that and think, all right, I got this. I can do this. Because
I don't know why I had that confidence.
But don't you think that sometimes ignorance is bliss?
Yeah,
like you're like,
for sure.
Nah, I don't care. I can figure this out and just go through it. Now you'd be like, I don't know if I want to do that. So sometimes not having that confidence and just being like, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah.
And then built the man that you are today based upon those experiences.
Yeah, and when you're a kid in the garage, you got nothing but time. You know, so if that LS harness costs $900, but you got 2 weeks to build it.
Yeah, and not $900.
Yeah, right. So it wasn't really a choice. But
yeah, so it's cool that you went through that and you.
I think a lot of guys did, man. A lot of the early dudes that were putting LSs and stuff. Like I was in a crowd of people that it was weird to buy a harness.
Yeah.
You know, here's the deal. I buy a harness now.
Mm-hmm.
We buy harnesses. You don't make your own.
Well, I think it comes down to, it's funny how, you know, you think, oh, my dad fixes a lawnmower. There doesn't need to be a lawnmower repair business. But eventually the time becomes like, everything has become so sectionalized that you're just like, it's all time-based.
Yeah.
Where we're moving so fast, unfortunately, where the old man used to fix the lawnmower, the weed eater, and probably mow the yard. Now there's a guy mowing the yard. You know, somebody else is fixing the lawnmower because you're here doing this, and it's funny how time changes that.
Yeah.
How long was the trucking business? Till you
maybe 5 years.
Did you stay married or the whole time you were married?
Yeah, it was really.
So you were married young.
I look, absolutely.
Like 20 to 25.
Yeah, it was a light switch, memory of mine. Like it was okay.
Keep going.
You know, get married, trucking company, get divorced, leave trucking company. Like it was really strange. Like there's obviously a lot more to the story, but
well, there's a beautiful girl in the mix there.
That's the greatest part of it all, dude. You know my daughter. She's a freaking rock star. She's super cool.
She 14 now.
I should know this.
Yeah.
12?
12?
13? No, she's not 13. She's 12.
Okay, she's 12. So you have your daughter. You're doing trucking. And then did you stay trucking? Like,
No.
What?
Gone. Light switch, man. I'm out.
Oh, my God. So what happens? I mean, was that just like, hey, Charlie, it's been fun working here. Your daughter and I are just not compatible. I got to go.
I mean, a much longer, more difficult conversation, but yeah, that's the scope of the story.
That had to be hard as a young man.
It was. That was not a great time of my life. I don't think, not at all. That was bad. So, but the silver lining of that matter is that I want to say this without sounding cheesy, but really like, I was trying to figure out what to do. Like, what do I want to do? Like, I'm really starting over, right? Like, I'm not doing that.
But you're only 25. I know it doesn't seem like you have the rest of your life, and but
I got a daughter. It's like, I'm let's do this, So, our divorce it took some time. And so, I just wanted to kind of like really focus on that and focus on my daughter. And so like finding like a full blown career per se wasn't really in the mix. I needed to do something that really like just, I could go to work and just love it, Yeah. So, oddly enough, I called Seth at Switch, and I'm like, hey, this is my situation. Like we were friends before that, and
how did you know Seth from before?
Through Street Beat Customs.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bought
you go
some.
In there and buy parts?
Yeah. He sold me the parts for my first air ride truck for sure.
Yeah. So he sold you for the square body. You're going for the audience. Street Beat Customs. You walk in. You're buying parts at the counter. Seth's there. What a funny story. Like just crazy to think the lineage and how that all kind of goes through. That the guys that end up, are still in the scene, still slinging parts, still building trucks. It's funny that we're sitting here today 20 years later.
Well, I was doing it back then as a hobby, right? So like that, hopefully for most people, never goes away. Like you're hot, you stick with it. So so I go, hey, I know you're selling parts. I think I had bought, Lauren Kid or whatever. I bought some parts from him. So I knew he had like a little business that was starting, So I was like, hey, maybe I could come in and like just work on a truck or whatever, just throwing it out there. And he's like, yeah. And then, I came in and we're talking about putting a lift. I go, you don't need a lift, dude. Like a floor jack and jack stands, that's all you need. Like a lift is for like changing oil, dude. I was way wrong, obviously. But like that mentally, like I'm coming from the garage, dude. I'm not, I am like, this is crazy. Like I was nowhere near a mindset of this, rolling in there. And then I'm like, hey, Seth, do you know this dude, Dino? Like I had my bag truck and he was always on the forum and dude, the guy's like super cool. And like, what if we just build trucks for Dino? And he's like, yeah, I know Dino. He's like one of my good friends. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let's do that.
Let's just build trucks for this guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, this didn't happen overnight, but that's really the story. It's like, I want to build cool shit for Dino. Like that guy has rad style and I want to work on his stuff.
So let me take you back and to get more personal, but how does a 25-year-old with a 3-year-old daughter who works for the father-in-law, whether you co-owned or not, how did you break away? And I don't need the details, but what I need is who are you making a phone call to? You talking to your dad? You talking to your brother? You're sitting in the dark crying?
Dude, my parents were super cool during that. Yeah, that's a good question. My parents really, they dug me out of a bad place for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
That's because I gotta feel like that's probably one of your darkest times.
For sure.
Where you're just like, like, I think I'm doing this. I'm a good guy. I work hard. I was raised right. And for whatever reason, I'm just not compatible with her mom. I got this beautiful kid, but at such a young age, even though we like to think that we're so smart, but I just got to think you were just like,
we were.
How did I get here?
Me and her mom were both making some pretty poor choices in life. Let's just leave it at that, But, we had a new daughter, and it's like, you need her to be all right,
All right. Yeah, I get it. Everybody's not perfect, but you learn from it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So you know Dino from the forum. You start working with Seth. And had he just opened Switch, or was he still kind of doing
I believe
Street
he had
Beat?
just got that shop on the 40th Street, the one that we did your...
Yeah. So 2012 is when I think he started. Obviously, so
But he had it going for, I don't know how long, but he was like hustling, like out of his garage, like getting like UPS shipments to his garage. I mean, that's.
At that point, he knew, all right, I'm not going to work here. I got my own thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he grabbed that spot, and he had a little shop in the back, and he had a little patina truck in there that we ended up finishing. I think it was a 68. Nothing too crazy, but it was cool. But yeah, he gave me a job. I'm like, I don't really need a lot of money right now. I just want to work, you know.
Something to take your brain off of all the things going on.
Yep.
So what were you doing at Seth or at Switch for the audience? What were you doing there?
Well, in the beginning, we didn't really know. Like, we didn't have like a clear-cut path. Like, hey, let's build full vehicles.
I don't think he did. And he was just like, I don't even know if I want the back. He always just wanted the front. Yeah. And then he didn't know if he wanted the back. And there was times where he was like, I don't know if it's worth having the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you were the back.
Yeah. I nerded out on stuff like, let's say a truck comes in and we're going to do a 5.7 drop on it. You know, like there's probably shops in town that do that for a couple $100 and send you on your way. And I'm like detailing the dude's chassis. And it's like, he's not paying me a ton, you know? So it's like, let me just sit here and go way over the top, you know? So that's really how it got started. And like, you can't bill for that. Like you have shops that compete with you that'll do a drop kit for a couple $100, and it's taken me 2 days because I want to detail the chassis while we're here, you know, like, and paint it. And
some things haven't changed, and we'll get into that because your level of detail is, I believe that you probably struggle with that now that you are paying the actual rent. So we'll get into that. But so you're working at Seth's. Are you living at home with your?
I had a little apartment. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the time I had full custody of my daughter. Yep. She was 2.
But you I've always had full custody.
Since she was 2. I've had her since she was 2. Yep. Yeah.
Was that ever hard? I mean, that's rhetorical. I know it was hard. Was that ever just like, how in the hell? Like, I've got full custody of this 2-year-old daughter, which you think about, most of the time the mom is going to have full custody, you know? So I'm not talking bad, but that tells you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Your folks probably helped out a tremendous amount.
They're great, man. I have great parents. Yeah. Absolutely. And then I had a good group of friends actually, like, Switch Suspension when we first started getting things going. You know, Tom was there too. Remember Tom? So me, Tom, and Seth, great friends. Like we'd hang out of work, and Tom would always use like a saying like, "Oh, it takes a village," you know, because it's like
it does.
Our kids went to daycare together, so if I wanted to stay late and work, like he's like, "I got I'll pick McKenna up," you know. So like it was really cool.
How is Tom lately? I haven't seen him lately.
He's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Tom's a good dude.
He's a great dude. Yeah.
So back in the day, you got Tom answering phones, you got Seth running it, Switch, and then you got Jason in the back.
Yep.
That's the crew.
Yep.
Yeah. So good dudes, and it's funny when you think about how things have evolved over the last 20 years. You know what I mean? In our scene here in the PHX.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because Dino probably, whether he realizes it or not, and we all have a part in it, but because of the forum and because of the big cat and the get down, we have become somewhat of a mecca for the C10 classic truck community.
It is it's bizarre. And what I looking back on things, you know, everybody has a phone now and everybody has Instagram or Facebook, and like, you know, if you follow a page, you're kind of like not, I guess Facebook, they physically call it friends with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're friends, but you're not. But it does bring like people together, you know, and the forum really did that too. And then you think like, okay, that's great. But then Dino was like, hey guys, come, I'm going to have a little truck show, you know? And it's like, okay, kind of weird. I'm going to meet a guy online, right? Like that's what we're doing here. Yeah. And then you meet him and you're like, oh, he's really cool. Like he's really, really cool. Like people, dude, he's shaking hands and like, he doesn't know me. And it's like, that's awesome. So he really, maybe this is a weird thing to say, but like he was kind of like a social media influencer before there was social media. Like,
hey guys, are you thinking about swapping out your old motor for a more reliable LSLT based power plant? Behind each PSI harness, you get over 10 years of experience in the business, online tech support, phone support, and harnesses made in the U.S. That's psiconversion.com. What's up, guys? Who doesn't like to bundle and save? The team at UP Car Parts knows this, and they put together 7 different bundles for you to choose from to save up to 20% off of your lighting. From headlights to taillights to marker lights, UP Car Parts got you covered. UPCarParts.com. Save up to 20% today.
Need C10 parts? Well, here at Pro, we actually have trucks. We build them, we drive them, and we deal with them every day. It's just part of who we are. We carry the best products for your truck project from the major name brands such as QA1, React, Painless, Dakota, Beltec, Borgeson, Bear, and even more. Give us a call or check us out on the web.
You've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. It's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com.
That's awesome. So he really, maybe this is a weird thing to say, but like he was kind of like a social media influencer before there was social media. Yeah. Like, because you're literally going to meet a guy that you met online, which at the time sounds really weird, even sounds weird today. And then like, yeah, it's just dudes hanging out, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and how do you put that into the perspective of he's a father figure because he's an older guy. You look up to him. He's a bigger guy. So you feel like, you know, when you meet somebody, whether it's at work or at a bar, at the gym, at whatever, it's not just not knowing somebody and then going to meet somebody. And I don't think it's that way anymore, but I feel like back then, like I went to the first, my first get down, which would be the second get down, which was the first one at the shop. I didn't go to the first one. But I feel like there was a level of like awkwardness, and that, you know, that I don't feel that way at all. No, because you know people. But there was a few years where, you know, you're like, they don't know who I am. I mean, even when I asked them to be on the pod.
Think about that time in your life. How many times did you meet somebody that you talked to on the internet? Like, that's really, now it's probably not that weird.
No, you're right.
But
like,
it's so
guys and girls meet that way.
Yeah. That's like, the normal
hey,
occurrence.
It's me. It's like, I guess, so for the audience, even though it's normal now, back, 10 plus years ago, or I guess at this point 13 years ago, it was just and again, Dino had this persona
for sure,
and he still does, because he's a big guy and he's a big jolly guy and he's got this beard and he's doing what he's doing. But I think that you're right, we're young, impressionable guys, and he's kind of the leader of the masses or the minions, and we're like, oh, this is cool. I mean, we didn't even care about the good guys thing. We cared about going to Dino's.
Yeah, exactly. And I can only imagine if that dude had like an awkward personality, where it's like, oh, okay, we're here. And
what would the scene be today?
Without
if Dino, if you were weird,
if you were a weird introverted dude,
if you were super introverted, like Grinder behind the camera, I'm just making fun. He's joking. That would be funny, and he's not. He's a very welcoming. He has a saying. I want to make sure I get it right, but it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice.
I remember.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool.
That's a good one.
And you think about how he's influenced all of us and really helped propel this all the way, going back to, for me in the pod, he was the first guest, thinking now that we're at 300, and then Porterbuilt and the scene that we do have here.
Yeah.
It really does come down to a few people, even like, I think there's a shop, Grunion. He did a lot of work with Grunion. And you think about the scene back then. And so you guys out there, you might not be fortunate enough to have your Dino. Find your Dino. And if you don't have a Dino, be your Dino.
There you go.
Right? Because there's young guys that are looking to get into this scene. And believe it or not, you probably don't even realize it, but some of the guys you have, like today we got to meet Sage and Pierce.
Yeah.
And you have guys that are here that probably even look at like, oh, that's AZ High Test. And you would never even think that you're that level. Speaking of that, remind us, why are you called High Test?
High Test. It came from a song. I thought I wanted to make a name that was that had to do with like traditional hot rod, like bagged C10. Like, no, let's go further, deeper, And then I was listening to a band.
Is it Alabama High Test?
The original song is Alabama High Test, and the lyrics to that song are pretty cool. Like that's a good song.
Yeah,
that's a great song.
It is. I actually listened to it today because I remember you saying that, and it's catchy.
Yeah, Old Crow, man, Old Crow Medicine Show. But it's twangy. If you're not into twangy, you're not gonna like it. But the lyrics are awesome.
Do you ever look back on when you did name it that and think, what the hell was I thinking? Or, hey, I'm glad I did? Or both?
I'm glad I did. It's funny because like if we're setting an account up or calling a new vendor, they're like, high tech? You're high test. So it's, yeah, I dig it. Like I really, especially being out of my 2-car garage, that's how the business started. I didn't want to be like Arizona Hot Rods or, I didn't want it to be like in your face. Like, hey, if you don't know what I'm doing or you don't know the name, don't worry about it,
Sure.
And I've kind of always had that feeling, it's like if people, I don't need to be the biggest name. If you don't know who we are, that's fine. That's okay.
I think too, like you would say that was like maybe a bravado where you might be flashy, like let's Gas Monkeys Easy, right? Richard Rawlings. But you've always kind of been, you're more, I wouldn't say you're shy, but you're more just subdue. And do you ever feel like you don't need to know who AZ High Test is? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So I'm really not worried about it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you name yourself Hot Rods or C10 Trucks. It's like, that's what you do. It's like, I love C10 Trucks, obviously, but I don't want to corner myself into one thing and not like from a business sales marketing thing. It's like, I just want to do cool shit, That might be building a motor one day.
Can we take that name? I just want to build cool shit.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's available. Somebody's got it. I just want to build cool shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd tell Grindr to bleep that out, but I won't say it. Somebody who might have that domain, but I just want to build cool shit. We won't give them the credit. If you really want to know, just DM me. I'll tell you, but I don't want to. I just want to build coolshit.com. He probably already has a domain. Okay, so
if not, he does now.
So going back, it is funny to think for me when I sit down and I prepare an interview, and I don't even need this really, but you do the trucking stuff. When you look back, what was the lesson that you learned did you have 3 trucks and you're driving a truck and your father-in-law's driving a truck and Louie's driving a truck and you're wrenching at night, or what was the shakedown breakdown on that?
What's really, I have never considered this until now, but what's really horrible about it is this was not intentional on my part, but I want to say that when we started that, there was 1 or 2 trucks, and I say started, he had already established it, that I'm not taking credit. There was like 1 or 2 trucks, and then at the end there was like 15. Wow. You know what I mean? So like that concept of growth and we could do more, like I really don't feel like I'm that person, but it's like, damn it, what are we doing here? Like the 2-car garage gig to me that's my end-all dream. That's my goal, but here we are. So I feel like.
So how do you? That's a great point, and to kind of cut you off, I think everybody would love that, but at the same time, we fight whether it's a demon, whether that's progress, whether it's, I want to be here, but it's an end to a means. So do you be here? Have this amazing shop, have 15 to 20 trucks. Because if I would have told you 5 years ago when I was coming to visit you at your garage in your old house while you're working on Goose's 63, hey bro, you're gonna have a shop and you're gonna have 15 trucks lined up, high quality. We're talking, there's $400,000 trucks. You would have never believed me.
No, I would have told you that there's not that many people that want to build a truck to that caliber in the world. So how could I have all 15?
So that brings us to a great point. And I've got to try to keep this under a certain time, but the perspective of how many different things that you and I could talk about, you have contributed to that based upon making plumbing and chassis to the level that nobody wants to cover them. Because I was just at C10s in the park talking to Vastine, and Rudy's 76 is sitting there, and it's on a GSI chassis with this great looking brownish color paint, and there's the plumber. There's the air lines.
That was a good one.
Fuel lines.
That was a good one.
So they wouldn't want to do that if you didn't do that.
Yeah.
They might not even have or have had that vision. So you've created that in the scene that used to be the same little kid typing away, learning how to wire an LS motor, and it's cool to think that you've done that. And I have a whole nother vision, and I'll throw this out to you now, because do you ever think about, for the audience, you have to understand that there could be in this shop at any given time a Porterbuilt, chop and block, roaster shop, GSI, Rev B, Art Morrison, TCI, Rideman Ranch, Scott's, Acme. You see more chassis than anybody. And you've also, I feel like, because I don't even know how we became the chassis capital of the world.
Yeah, isn't it wild?
Right? We have Porterbuilt, Rev B, GSI right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, All Americans here too.
So, All American.
It's crazy.
So you also, I guarantee, get a phone call almost a day from those guys. And you've also influenced the chassis builders. Hey, what do you see? Because you do your little Berland bypass doors, and you do the high test hatch, and you run things inside. And so when you think about all of that, you are a big integral part of that, whether you realize it or not. And if you're not doing it, somebody else is seeing it done and wants it done. Somebody in Kansas, somebody in Oregon, somebody's like, I can't afford or take my stuff down to Arizona to have high test work on it, but I want these lines run. I want this. So what's your perspective on all that you have a part in the scene that we...
It's kind of wild to think about. I
think the
reason... I don't feel like it's a weird thing. Like
is it an evolution?
Yeah, it definitely didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen intentionally, but it's like you stare at something long enough, you find the best way.
But I don't think a lot of people do, and I think that you do. I think
a lot of people jump in, you know, and it's like if we had one chassis in the entire operation, you'd only do it one way because you got one. But
so like if we, in our scene, if we just had, and for one time we really did, we had like Porterbuilt, right? Roaster shops building Camaro stuff, and they weren't really building truck stuff. And Nate was so far ahead of the curve. So now you've got so much. Is that ever hard?
Yeah, yes and no. I've came to the realization that what we do is custom work. So a lot of people want, hey, I ordered a mail order chassis. I got a mail order engine. I got mail order wheels. I need mail order plumbing. And it's like, I wanted to entertain that because there's a side of me that's very, like, I love efficiency. So it's like, yeah, let's do it. And the other side of it is like, dude, you're building a custom car. Like, and does the plumbing have to be the neatest thing on it? No. But like, it should be exactly what you want. And like, I just don't like compromise where somebody's like, oh yeah, if mine's slightly different, I'll just bend it. It's like, well, no, my name's on that. I'm not going to mail you something that you can manipulate. Like, either have me do it or I'll send you a kit. Like, you know, so like,
but it's funny to hear you say that because I feel like that's your demons. You love efficiency, but you lust. The custom, right? It's like, I like the efficiency.
For sure. But I can't get over the custom.
But the level of the custom will always win with you. Always.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So I think that you're always at this crossroads to where you need that. It's like, hey guys, I need this efficiency, but custom's always going to win.
Yeah.
Custom is always going to win.
And it's not always my idea, you know, Chris or Pierce, anybody, Andy, anybody in the shop, Will, whatever. Somebody will come up, oh, hey, this would be a cool way to do that. And it's like, I can't unsee it, dude. Like, if I thought I had the best thing planned out and somebody comes up with something cooler, we're doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it is custom. So, like, these chassis it's difficult for us because a lot of people, like I said, they just want it to be quick and easy, and it just never is, you know? Like, one little variable, if you're not into perfection, it's fine. You can deal with it. But, like, we're
Do you fight that as a business owner now? Whereas when you were a guy in the garage, and I think sometimes you know, we always kind of, it is funny how we we want to, I don't know, there's a saying that says start the way you want to finish. And it's funny if we all end up kind of going back. It's going to be really funny when you retire someday and sell this, or move on, and you have this garage at your house and this little shop at your house, and you're just doing your thing.
I'd love that,
and you would love that. But at the same time, you've built something that's really amazing, and I feel like you're always at a crossroads where you're like, hey, I've got to be efficient because I'm paying 12 employees.
Yeah.
I've got rent. I've got all this. I need to move. I need to be rolling. But I really love the detail.
Yeah.
I love the detail.
I feel like you work here because like if my employees watch this, they're gonna laugh. You're like, yeah, that's what it's like to work here.
But I think because they know you, they almost always know that it's like WWJD, right? What would Jason do, right? And you're like, dude, go the extra mile.
Yeah.
We'll ask for forgiveness. We'll have to bill it, or we won't bill it.
Yeah.
But I want
We'll
it to be done right because it's going to have the AZ high test stamp on it.
For sure. I think that's a unique personality trait, and there's a couple guys in the shop that didn't have that. Like I feel like that you need to give them instruction, and they'll do a great job, a fantastic job. But it's like, if you see a better way, you better let me know.
How do you manage that? Because you're so nice that I would love to learn how you manage that, because I struggle with that because I'm not as nice as you, and it's like, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Hey,
well, no one likes coming up with a great idea and having it get shot down, right?
Okay.
Like, so I guess I'm fortunate to associate myself with people that typically have decent ideas, or they realize like, hey, what was proposed is really good.
What about somebody that's not meeting the AZ high test level of baseline, which that can be tough, right? Because you're a perfectionist, so you're always chasing the efficiency, the custom, the perfection, and you're trying to find that sweet spot to where it's like, hey, and so when you get employees and like, for example, Chris has been with you a long time. So I assume that even Chris has an evolution.
Oh, dude.
How do you get to the Berland evolution? How do you get to that point?
I don't think there's ever a ceiling to it. Like, you just keep evolving,
Well, how do you train them? I don't need you to, but like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I understand what you're saying.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a 90.
Chris will bust my balls all day. Be like, your idea sucks, and like we can have good disagreements without getting into it, know.
But Sage and Pierce aren't going to do that.
Pierce might. He
can hang.
Yeah, he can hang, dude, and I need that, like. Because I'm not always right, and I don't always have the best ideas. But I want the best ideas flowing out of here. And I think that's it right there. Everybody under this roof wants that.
Yeah.
They want like whatever they're doing to be the absolute best it could be.
Well, and at the end of the day, if you don't, then there's other places to go.
Right. And dude, that's I mean.
And I don't take it personal. Right. You're like, hey.
Dude, I've had to let a couple guys go that I would still consider good friends. I would do anything for them. They're great people, and they just didn't have a personality that fit in here.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody that comes through that maybe they really, really want to be really that level 9 or better, and they're just not? You think about, like, it's easy to use the example of Pigpen from Charlie Brown, right?
Yeah.
It's they're a pigpen. They're just flying by the seat of their pants, and they can't get it done right, and they can't get it done to that level that you're looking. It's like, listen, here's the AZ high test level, and you're just not gonna. I want you to, but you're just not gonna make it.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to cut something off and start over. So if somebody does something, hey, I wired this, and I'm like, hey, let's try it again.
Yeah. All right.
Clock out. We'll be okay. And let's
I like that.
Different.
Clock out. And we're gonna do it again.
I probably use that phrase maybe too much in the shop, but I don't care, dude. This isn't. I mean, it's kind of weird to say, but this isn't like my when I was in a 2-car garage, my goal wasn't like, oh, how much wealth could I gain from being in a shop? That is probably the last thing I care about. Like, let's build cool shit. And if we need to clock out, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, if we could pay the bills, I'm good, dude. Like, I'm not.
What a great point, because you're like, hey, listen, I just want to make sure I'm taking care of my customer.
Absolutely.
I'm building awesome stuff. I'm being a mentor to these young men that are in here working, because I was that guy at 20 some years old. And if we got to clock out and we got to keep working on this, I think the key would be somebody who's like, nah, I don't want to work on it. And then you're like, okay, well, you can go home and not work on it. And you just put your 2 weeks in, right? Or, you know, in a nicer way maybe. But at the end of the day, if you constantly want to stay here, I'll stay here. I'll help you. And that's a good thing.
I can tell you that everybody in here, regardless of their age, like they grow as builders, you know.
And you grow as an owner?
Yeah, sometimes backwards, I feel. But no, I just, man, there's an attitude, like when you walk in the door, it's like there's high expectations, and that should be a good thing, you know. And I tell my guys all the time, like, so Joy came in from like Joy.
That's his wife.
Oh yeah, Joy is my wife. Yes,
his new wife, not his ex-wife.
Correct.
We'll get into that.
Oh shit.
We'll get that. We
probably should iron that out. Why haven't
yeah.
I talked about Joy yet? Yeah, Joy works here and she does office stuff. She came in from
she's
like
the boss.
She is the boss. She's my boss. She came in from corporate America, right? And like she came up with all these things like PTO, paid time off. That means you get paid to not be here. That's crazy to me.
Yep.
I don't know that I ever had a job like that.
Yeah.
But so like I tell my guys, I'm like, dude, if you're not feeling it, go home. We'll pay you to just not be here. They only have so much of that, let's be honest. But it's like, dude, I want you to be 110% every day. And if you're not, just go take a nap.
Well, and sometimes that might be
We'll survive.
cheaper, right? Because you're like, listen, I don't want to pay you.
It's not right.
to f stuff up. And so, by the way, I remember the first time I ever met Joy, SEMA. I don't remember what SEMA, but I see you walking down the hall, and I'm like, damn, what's up, Berland? Cute little reddish strawberry blonde.
She's all right.
Iowa. You out-punted your coverage, bro. Get out of town.
That's probably true.
Get out of town.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, Minnesota. So, yeah, she's from up there. And so, yeah, so you guys are a little bit of a power couple, you know. Is that hard with her here balancing?
I don't like her here. I love her here, but holy shit, man. Yeah, work with your spouse. It's great. Yeah.
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 It's a little bit challenging at times.
Yeah.
Well,
there's we have polar opposite personalities in many ways, and so like I'm financially reckless. Like I was building a truck when I was supposed to be going to college, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
a good thing. And financially reckless.
Yeah, and she's not, and we need that. Like I need that.
Yeah, it does take that. I laugh about my situation too. My boss is she is not financially reckless, and I think truck guys could be all financially reckless. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We'll make more money. We can always make more money.
Sell a kidney? I don't know. Yeah. Let's buy wheels.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, babe. We can. What does FedEx in the what can Brown do for you UPS guy just constantly here all the time? So yes, his new wife. You have 2 beautiful daughters.
3 now.
Well, 2 with her. 3.
Gotcha. Yes.
3 total.
Yes.
He's a girl dad, and you're done. Maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. That means he's not. Maybe one more chance at that boy.
There might. Yeah, I don't know. 3's kind of a.
Just hang out with Metalox Kyle and Scotty from Rev B, because they're the all boy. No. Metalox is all girls. I forgot. He's got 3 like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. We'll see.
It's a lot.
I'm not committing to anything right now.
So you go from a trucking company, you work for Seth. You had a little bit of you had a break from Seth.
Yep.
At one point, and then you came back. Talk about the break or not talk about the break? Did you learn? What did you learn from the break?
I think I learned a lot from the break. Yeah.
Was that like 2-3 months?
I don't know if I lasted that long.
Yeah.
It was. There was many good things about it. The reality is I left Switch on as good as terms as possible. It's like, dude, I was basically a one-man show. I think Chris at that time may have been helping out, so he was like he was doing some shipping, and he was working in the shop. I don't remember when I left. Maybe him and I had jammed on a few things together. But like,
were you recruited?
No. Yes and no. Not from who you would expect to be recruited from, but third party, which I feel like is fair enough. Like,
okay. So somebody sought you out.
Yeah, a little bit, and I don't. My honest opinion is that it wasn't like I have morals about that. I would never, ever, ever, ever ask somebody to come work for me that works for somebody else. If they call me, let's talk. You know what I mean? Let's start there. But like, I think that's a horrible thing, and I would never do that.
So for the audience, because we have a unique, I don't know, I can only speak for Phoenix, right? But we have a lot of really good shops here and a lot of high quality shops. There's guys, and I'm not saying you, but there's guys that have worked for a few different shops.
Yeah.
So they bounce around, and at some point it catches up to them.
Yeah.
And at some point it catches up to the employer. And so I think you can figure out that there's a wage, and certain people are constantly looking for, the other side, or what is it? The grass is always greener.
Yeah, for sure. And
so then you realize, maybe it really isn't.
So for me to leave Switch was, those were like my best friends at the time, right? So it was tough. They're like brothers to me. So for me to leave there was really difficult. But I really, at that point, I go, my divorce is finalized, and let's make a career out of this. That's really what that was about. And it's like, okay, it's me, and then Chris was, like I said, helping me jam over there, and we were building cool shit together. But I was like, I really would like to make a career out of this. I want to be a part of a team. I want to be around dudes that tell me what to do, like that we could all learn together. You know what I mean? Like, I want guys to learn. Like, I want to be around people that I could learn from, and vice versa.
Do you feel like you were striving, like, where you go from, like, I'm kind of the leader in the back, and now I want to be mentored. I want to take my level of craftsmanship and not just be this. I want to keep moving up.
Well, the bizarre thing about Switch, again, because like I would always take too long. I was a horrible employee there. Let's be honest. I was probably horrible because I would just take
not because you're not a good worker.
No, just I was
to the extreme.
If he's like, hey, this is a 2-hour job, I'm like, okay, it's going to take us 4 or 5 days, because of this, he would allow me to do shit. So I would like cycle suspension, and I just learned so much. And moving to another shop, it's like, what if all the shit I'm learning is bullshit? Like, maybe these guys are like, hey, you're way overthinking this, and so that was really, that's why I left. I wanted to make a career out of it. I wanted to be on a team, a team of rock stars.
Okay. So you leave.
Yep.
And what would you say was the biggest thing you learned? Because you came back. And how did that go? Because you and Seth are good friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
And still to this day.
Yeah.
Has that been hard to manage that?
No, dude. Seth is a solid dude. One of my best friends still till today, and I think it went as cleanly as it could have gone. Part of me wishes I was still there. Like, I had a great time, dude. That was a job, like, I literally looked forward to going to work every day. I never was like, I gotta go to work. Like, it was so much fun. Like, we got to do really cool stuff. So leaving there on good terms, and then I would say the one thing I learned is that people were willing to pay for this stuff. And I don't mean like, hey, it's going to be $200 to do your drop kit. Like, there's dudes out there that like will pay a ton of money for a guy like me to work on their vehicle. Like, because at Switch at the time, like, we were doing cool shit for Dino, and like, I know the dynamic. Like, I was always taking so long on things, like, it just wasn't profitable for the business. Like, I was not a profitable sector of the business, at least not directly.
Yeah.
And I know that. So like, I think when I came back, I'm like, hey, like, we should turn it up. Like, I think people are gonna pay us to do this, So things were horrible where I went, and I
well,
had
and you realized it probably built your confidence because you're like, hey, I was looking for mentorship, and now I realize I'm a rock star.
Well,
and people are going to pay for it.
Yeah, maybe you
want a rock star.
No, and I don't want to be I don't want to sound conceited.
I'll say
but
that you are, but you don't want to say that. I
don't want to say that.
I get it.
But I definitely never got where I was like vibing with other guys who were like, yeah, this is so much fun. Like it was just a job to everybody there. Like, and not a fun job. Like, be a fucking greeter at Walmart, dude. Like, why are you here? Like, oh, that was probably your previous job. You didn't like that or got fired. So now you're here. Okay, cool. So nothing.
What a great example to be at Seth's Switch where you're waking up and you're just like, picking up a Mountain Dew on the way. And you're like, let's go. And then you think you're going to go somewhere and the audience is going to want to know, but at the same time, the world is small. You'll be able to figure it out somehow, but it's not, we're not.
Well, the point of our story is not to point fingers or bring anybody down. Like there's.
No, it's just that you learned along the way. So then you go back to Seth, you realize, and I can't remember, he moved to, at that time, then he moved to Mesa.
I think, if I remember, no, for sure. 40th? We moved back to 40th Street, and then we got like in a real shop, and it was like, dude, big time. I mean, like massive shop. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet that first move that Switch did, they probably one of the biggest shops in the state, like square footage wise. That was a massive shop, and now they're like what 3 or 4 times that. Like, it's crazy.
So things changed for Seth, things switch, things changed for you, and then at what point did you? Because I'll always remember, Chad, my buddy Goose, CA Goose, being like, "Oh, we're going over to Berland's and we're going to work out of the garage."
Yeah,
that had to be hard.
A little bit, So,
I mean,
there was
5 years ago. You were in your garage.
Yeah, for sure. But even 7 years ago, I was. So, really, I always had a project going. I never had a customer, on the side, right?
Sure.
So this is Moonlight Customs, dude. I'm in my 2-car garage, and I need something to pass the time. I realized I'm not getting enough at work. And there's nights, not every night, but there was nights I'd stay till midnight, if my daughter, if I had somebody to watch my daughter, it's I would work till midnight. I loved this. I loved what I was doing. I loved learning just different things, And so I always had a vehicle. Somebody always needs you to build their hot rod for them. So I just did it, and I never charged very much, And then, that word of mouth when you're the cheap guy in town, it's like a wildfire. Don't ever be that guy.
Yeah.
But
especially
then
in Phoenix.
But dude, I got really lucky, dude. Chad came around, and he's a solid dude. So his was a cool truck that we got to put together in my garage, and then the moonlighting thing really started taking over. And to be honest, there was a period of time where my moonlighting was affecting Switch, and it's this isn't fair to him. You know what I mean? And again, I knew I was never the best employee. I think
you're not giving you almost have to put an asterisk by it, because it's not that you're not a great employee. It's just that your level of perfection isn't saving or it's costing him money, right? And then, but at the same time, that level of quality brought back a lot of repetitive work.
Sure.
So even though it might have cost him, a wage, but people keep coming back, and there's a reason why. And then they're like, hey, now you have the social media perspective, and you're like, look at what these guys did. Holy shit. Okay, now we see what they did. So even though you're giving yourself, you're hard on yourself, there's indirect, I guess, rewards.
Yeah, gain from it, for sure. I here's the deal, dude. Seth is my friend. So if there wasn't something that I felt like I was benefiting his business, I would have pulled the plug myself, You
did. You started your own business.
Yeah, well,
right?
and it became that way. Him and I sat down, and it's hey,
what do you
if I'm working till 3 a.m., moonlighting, and I show up to work with him at 8, it's am I 100%? No, I'm not. Dude, I sat down with Seth, and I go, hey, dude, I've got 9 jobs. No, it wasn't 9. I've got 2 jobs lined up, and I think if you're cool with it, maybe I could go to part-time. And he was like, get the fuck out, dude. You're my friend. If you have 2 jobs lined up, people would kill to have that. Go start your shit. And I'm
what
like,
did you learn from Seth as a boss, not as a friend, as a boss manager, now that you find yourself in that situation? Because one thing that I'm like, dude, I love how Seth is really, he's cool, direct.
Yeah.
He keeps his like coolness. I don't think I've ever seen him really get crazy mad at all, like to a level.
No, not
like,
crazy.
No.
No.
And then still manage it. And,
Yeah.
and even when he's like, okay, and then he kind of, he steps back and so did you ever learn anything from that? As a guy who's,
I'd call that collected, dude. He's always collected. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he was a great example of a business owner, dude. Like, I could name other shops that I've worked for where like your paycheck would bounce, or like that dude never, ever, ever. Like, he ran a business, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he was my friend, but he ran a business. Like, if there was any, and I'm a business owner now, there's always financial burdens on the back end. And if your employees know that, like, you're probably not doing a great job. And I never knew that. Like, I thought the grass is as green as could be. And that like, he presented that very well,
How do you,
whether it was or wasn't like that. I would say that's what I learned from him the most.
Do you bounce stuff off of him now as a business owner?
I try not to, you know what I mean? I in some degree, I feel like we're playing a slightly different game and definitely playing on slightly different fields too. There's some builds that I'll see that they're doing that are out of this world, like crazy nice. And I don't want to, I don't even really want to look at them because I don't want to like fall in love with ideas that I can't help but repeat. Does that make sense? And I'm that way with not just him, but many other.
I think that's the scene, though. I think that there is a level of social media or things
It's
are
hard, dude.
getting out there, and
you see something you love, and you're like, I want that. Let's
Yeah.
do that. And it's like, no, dude, let's. You could take things as inspiration, but some things people do are just so fucking great. You got
and I think it's a level of inspiration, but it's a motivation too, and I think that motivation of inspiration and what quality of people are doing, but at the same time, you are at the forefront of that. You have to understand that there's shops all over the country, and that's what's been so crazy about social media.
Yeah,
the social media, we can look at from Boris to Twin States to somebody in Texas, and you blend it all together, and you're like, wow, okay, now I can take this, I can take that. I mean, we're all snapping photos and we're all looking at different things. So I think that's what keeps it really moving the way that it does.
But
and people are snapping photos of your chassis. They're snapping photos of your plumbing. They go to the get down, they go to the reunion, they go to shows that you're at, and you're like, look at this chassis, my God, look at this heartbeat, look at these turbos, look at the way they ran this, look at all this. So there's people that are doing that, and at the same time, you can't get mad about it because you've done it. You can't get mad about it because it's the biggest form of flattery is whatever the hell they're saying is.
Sure.
Yeah. And then at the same time, you're like, listen, I always laugh at the chassis business, because the number one thing about the chassis business, especially in Arizona, because we have so many chassis companies here, is they get mad because they want all the customers, but they're 6 to 12 months behind.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, listen, I get that you want all the customers, but you're behind.
Right.
So there's a balance there. Because we don't have all night, I wish we did. You see more chassis, okay? And you said we could get into the weeds on this. I'm not going to ask you to put somebody out. But nobody sees more chassis than you. Nobody. I would love to know who does. Because, again, going back to what I was saying, I mean, you list the chassis, and they are in here right now. What do you love about? Is there things that to keep it on the positive?
Yeah.
Is there a thing that you love about each chassis?
Yeah.
And then going back to that highest level of flattery is somebody copying what you do. Do they all start to look like one another? Do they start to blend?
There's definitely components that I've seen where somebody will introduce a great idea and then everyone's got it. You know what I mean? And I don't know a way around that. It's like if it's cost you the same amount of money or even slightly more or whatever, if you can afford to sell a chassis with better stuff on it, why wouldn't you? And most of the chassis manufacturers I've seen have done certain things to not copy each other, but one dude's got a good idea and a lot of guys run with it, you know? And I don't think that's a horrible thing. There's things that we absolutely hate about every chassis, and there's things that we absolutely love about almost every chassis. I know that's very like I'm not getting a knife out or anything, but here's the deal. I would love to own any aftermarket chassis and build a truck on it for myself. Like they're all amazing, man. Like,
so if you, I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'll pick one. You want me to pick one?
Want
me to pick one?
Well, I mean, I think that I don't think that that's fair to you.
Okay.
So, but yes, do it. Well, because I think the audience is going to kill me.
For sure.
The audience is going to kill me. But before you answer this, I think this is funny. I want to break this down just for the audience. Okay. So you have Nate Porter. This is crazy. Nate Porter went to the same high school I did.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have Porterbuilt. Then GSI evolved because they felt like Porterbuilt was not keeping up.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't think this is anything. Of course, I love Nate's stuff. Okay. So then GSI evolves, and Anthony and Scott build GSI, and that evolved, I believe, because they felt like Porterbuilt. I'll give you a perfect example. I did not create this meme. I did not create. Somebody sent this to me, but there was like a skeleton was waiting for a chassis because there was a point, there was a point where it was taking so long. Okay, so GSI pops up. Anthony and Scott, same high school.
I know it.
It's so crazy. So we all went to the same high school. So then now you have Rev B, which is Scott leaving GSI, which you guys, if you follow the pod, you know that. So you have Nate, you have GSI, and now you have Rev B. Okay, all same high school. I don't know why I think that's so funny. Sometimes I want to call it C10 High, and I've thought about even
same football coaches.
No,
Jesse Parker.
No, we changed.
Aren't you Jesse Parker?
You were Jesse Parker.
You weren't Jesse Parker.
No, I was. But some of those guys at that point.
Oh I know.
It was different coaches.
I'm
yes.
just saying. Let's tie this one more knot.
And then we'll bring it all back to Gilbert High. So it's funny how we're all in the same thing, and these chassis are again, there's other companies that are like, yeah, that's a cool story. So I think that I find that kind of crazy. So now what chassis would you, if I said you get to build your own chassis, you've worked hard, you're going to build the truck you want, you're 67 to 72, what are you building and what chassis are you picking and why? And do you want to answer that? Because
I will.
No, but if you don't want to, I would never expect you to because you have so many that are coming in here.
Well, the bottom line is like you can't have 10 different chassis manufacturers' chassis in your shop if you're going to be political or if there's here's the bottom line, it's fucking business. So financially, right? So like if one dude gives me a better deal, I should sell his chassis, right? And I don't care to do that. Like I don't, to be honest, if somebody wants to buy a chassis from me, I'm like, hey, go hit them up. You buy a chassis from them. I don't need to be the middleman. Grab your chassis. You need some pointers? Bring it here when you're done.
Which is a great point because you could sell chassis to everybody.
Why wouldn't I?
You could.
Yeah.
Easily. Because they're calling you to do the chassis so you could sell
a chassis. But dude,
I
feel like there's a part in my brain where it's like, I like learning. So I want to see all of them. I want to see every chassis coming in. Like I want to.
But by answering this, do you think that would hinder your learning?
No, because I think my answer is kind of a cop-out.
Oh, I like that.
So air ride, right? Air ride's awesome. I cut my teeth on that, and that's really what got us here. So my favorite chassis that we've had in the shop is Art Morrison. Mm-hmm. Dude, it comes with a packet of like wheel specs, camber specs. Here's the wheels that you should run, and they just fit. Like there's no like inventing the wheel. And I realize the one that we're doing is coilover, so you have a little bit more grace. Air ride, you got to be spot on or you look like a nerd, right? So it is coilover, but it's hammered coilover, low. And geometry-wise, like it spins an 11-inch wide front tire. They tell you exactly, hey, I would like you to run this tire. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but like the fact that they're giving you that without like forcing you to buy wheels from them is super cool. Like I really like that. Dude, they do, they make their own rack, like rack and pinion, right? So all these chassis that we have in the shop, I have like a Mustang 2 rack, including them. They're like, hey, we cast our own and like valve it for the weight of the vehicle and like that. So yeah, they go the extra mile. That's why.
Okay.
But here's the deal.
No,
here's why.
I didn't expect that.
Okay.
I like to cop out. And have you seen their 4x4 stuff?
Sick.
Oh
Sick.
my God.
I knew if they hit the 4x4 market, they weren't going to be like, hey, here's your leaf springs, right? Like they hit it so hard. Ridiculous.
Holy
Ridiculous. Crap. But I will say this, like our rep at Art Morrison is like, hates air ride. And he's like, yeah, that's dumb. You shouldn't do air ride. And if I want to order a chassis from them, he's like, how do I put this in the, because I mean this in a good thing. They're kind of nerdy, like in a good way. Like they're like, hey, your truck cannot lay on the ground because if the air suspension fails, you're going to die or you could hurt somebody. But I want to lay the truck on the ground. So they won't sell me a chassis.
But you can put things in.
I could lie to them and tell them that my wheel's slightly bigger than it is and they'll build it. I think they build it like 1 inch or whatever off the ground. I want it on the ground, And that's what this is. Like every chassis, Roadster, it doesn't matter. Like they lay on the ground. And so the fact that they won't, I give them credit for like, that's what they believe in and they're not willing to budge. It's cool, really. But I want mine to be on the ground.
Yeah. I think that there's things that you could do to tell them that it won't be on the ground. But
yeah,
when you look at the price of it,
they're amongst, Art Morrison's going to be the most expensive chassis on the market, to my knowledge. Maybe there's something what they come out of the gate.
What about budget? If you,
I want to say Chop and Block comes in at like the budget. I really don't know. I haven't had any price schedule for Ride Room Ranch. And honestly, I'm probably the worst guy to talk about this because I don't sell chassis. Like, you wouldn't believe that, but I don't sell chassis. If somebody likes a chassis, I'd say, yeah, dude, those guys are great and you should get a chassis
Do you
from
get
them.
a lot of calls that people say, dude,
I
work
get
on
this
chassis
question
every day?
I felt like this question was coming because I get it at least once a day.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm talking to these guys. Should I buy a chassis from them? And my answer 99% of the time is yes. Because I do. Like, I can't say that there's a chassis that I absolutely hate.
Well, and just so you realize, for the audience, that's probably why he's number 300. Because he doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about, I'm going to tell, all my customers and clients to buy this, chassis. You care about the trucks. You care about the scene. You care about people being happy. And however it is that the human connection realizes that, and if you weren't you, just like if Dino wasn't Dino, this shop wouldn't be loaded with trucks. So don't change that. And I think you know that. You're like,
yeah, I did.
You're like, yeah. Joy's like, we gotta build this, and you're like, nah,
yeah,
we're not building that. And I think that there is a level there of people understanding. It's a weird thing that people can have that intuition, they can have that fortitude to know, hey, this is my guy. So you leave Switch, you are working out of your garage, you have 2 customers. I remember talking to you and you're like, I'm buying a shop. And I can't remember the details, but I remember going to the first shop before we did the pod. So you think about COVID.
Yeah.
And you were like, dude, this is like I remember at times I feel like Big Ten Bowman was even going to split half of it.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And I know you guys even talked about doing like a chassis series where you're like, we're going to buy this chassis, and we're going to put this power plant, and he's going to build motors, and you're going to build chassis, you're going to plumb them. But it's crazy that you have completely, because I don't think you ever thought you would really even ever outgrow that.
Right.
And now you're here, and this is double, if not a little bit more than double, right? This is almost triple.
Yeah, it's almost 3 times. Not quite, but yeah.
So, and you had like you and Chris.
Right.
And then Josiah?
Yeah, Josiah was with us for a bit. Yeah.
Like he looked like Jesus. He'd show up. And
he's back in the game. He's working with Homegrown down in Benson.
Okay, yeah. But that's kind of his area, right?
Yep. Yeah, he's down there now.
So
he's a rock star, dude.
As a firefighter in this area, I remember one time I brought the guys by the old shop, and I'm like, hey, we're covering this area. Let's go by. And they had no clue. And then they're just like, we all get back in the fire truck, and they're just like, and I'm like, do you realize how much money, like those trucks that I just showed you, like big money. And then it's funny to think that you and Chad, and I remember like we're dropping off a trailer and we're doing things at your house. And now it's 5 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
where are you going to be in 5 years from now?
Dude, you asked me that earlier. Or can I really don't want it to get any bigger. And I think I said that 5 years ago, like when I was in my 2-car garage, because that was my dream. Like I want to do this out of a 2-car garage. Like I want to be the little guy, you know. And so
well, what stops you?
Well,
you could be.
Yeah, you'd have to tell a lot of people no, and that makes me. I don't like telling people no, first off, and it also scares the shit out of me, right? Because it's like we talked about scheduling earlier. This industry scheduling. There you go. I like that. That's a real dirty olive.
That wasn't supposed to happen like that. Hey, whoever comes up with the olive thing, you need to make it so we can get these things easier.
An olive fork.
Yeah,
is that a
something.
thing? I feel like that could be a thing.
I think it is a thing.
Olives. I don't know.
Yeah, they have those long, skinny forks.
Yeah, olive fork.
I love
That's
these things, man. I could eat this whole bottle.
See?
Hey, come on, let's keep up.
All right.
You act like Joy's in town. His wife and kids are out of town. That's why we scheduled it tonight.
Check this out. She was on a plane this morning that took off out of Sky Harbor, and I don't know exactly what they said on the intercom, but they're like, "Hey, our landing gear's broke or whatever, so we're turning around." So they landed her. And then they go, everybody off the plane. And then as soon as we fuel up or whatever, get right back on. I mean, I probably missed some part of the story from her, but would you get back on the plane?
Same plane?
Same plane.
Oh, they fixed it. Was it Southwest? It was Bowman's dad. I feel okay.
Dude, yeah.
If it was Southwest, it was Bowman's dad. Kevin.
He's got it dialed.
I got it dialed in. And then his wife's out of town. My wife's out of town. And don't worry about Grindr. Nobody does. Nobody. All right. So where were we?
So a little cop-out answer on the Art Morrison.
Man, I didn't expect that, but I don't think it's cop-out at all.
Yeah, because, dude, I have so many friends, like sincere friends that are building chassis.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you become better friends with the chassis builders that you started the shop? Because you get to see them. You get to talk to them.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, send me the bill on this, cleaning this thing, because it smells like olive juice now. I don't want to hear no bullshit from Frank. Okay? I'll get this thing washed and laundered.
I said to the picture, he goes, is that our table and table?
I'll clean it. The drop for the audience. Check out the podcast, Brian and Frank.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The Good Life. And yeah, just send me the bill. I'll get it cleaned. I don't want no bullshit from you, Frank. Okay, so yeah, so you think about I think I'm gonna have Nate back on. Nate was episode 10 and 11.
I think you should, man. Nate. So here's
I don't know if Nate will do it.
I don't know either.
I love Nate, but I don't think Nate loves me.
Well, so, here's the truth, man.
I'm just telling you how I feel, Nate.
Nate told me something when I started going, and he's like, "Hey, look, dude, I've grown, and as a business." Because you're growing in size doesn't mean it's growing in a positive direction, right?
Okay.
And so he was like, hey, look, I've had not 50 employees and blah, 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 right? And he's like, hey, now we're here, and this is where I'm comfortable. And so if you think about something like this in the form of advertisement, other than, to me, this is a part of the scene. Like maybe people want to watch this and, I've been a part of this since I like C10 trucks. So I'm not doing this because I want somebody to come into my shop and spend money with me. That's not a commercial investment in any way on my part. And so for him, if he comes on the podcast, he'll probably generate business from it. But it sounds to me like he's ripping. Like, dude, he's building chassis here in Phoenix. Is there a chassis company here that can't keep up? Like, they're selling off the walls.
Yeah.
People want this stuff. And so my point is it may not be good for him to do it. Like,
yeah, they can't keep up.
Right.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that he can't keep up. What I'm saying is,
no, I get what you're saying.
if you're overwhelmed in sales, you're like, oh, let's advertise.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that, and it's funny you said that's
I would love to see him on your show.
No, well, he has been. He was episode.
No, I know.
But 10 years later.
Yes, right.
And it's crazy because that you say that way, and I feel like the pod has changed. When I first started the pod, people wanted to hear who's Nate, who's Dino, who's John Oro, who's the C10 King, who's Sam Castronova. Well, now we know because social media over 10 years has completely changed. But
that's true. That's true.
But I'll give you the best example, and I'm going to have him back on. And spoiler alert, I don't know that I'm going to do it past this year.
Oh.
100%. I don't know.
Oh.
10 years is a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of time. Like it's a lot. I love it. I love sitting down with people. I love the story. But think about Slosh Tubbs. He was like number 5. And in 10 years, that dude went from like 3 SKUs to like 1 million.
Yeah.
So
was he a form guy though?
Yeah.
Slosh Tubbs was
form?
Yeah. I think I do remember.
He had his first truck, which was Cloud 9. Did he call it Cloud 9? Yeah.
That was the Cloud 9 was like when social media started, because there was like this thing where the forum was.
Yeah.
And then social media.
Yeah,
really
he
took
was.
over,
He was there. But I just think that the pod allowed people to get to know who's on the forum. I even interviewed Josh, who started the forum.
I remember that.
But now we're at this point where everybody knows the stories, right?
Yeah.
They know a lot. They don't know everything, and the social media does leave a little bit for people to want to know more.
Yeah.
So, but to catch up with Nate and to say, hey, we had you on 10 years ago. You were one of the biggest games in town.
Yeah.
What would you change? What would you do different? Now what's up? Now you're in Fat Fender's shop.
I believe they're sharing a building.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope Nate would do it, but we'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely want to get Oro back on. Probably get Dino back on.
Nate would be a crazy one to talk to about evolution. Of the chassis, because very first stuff was. It was like prototype stuff that hit so hard it went out the door.
Do you
know
think?
What I mean?
Do you think that Nate will ever get credit for starting what he started when it comes to that? Because you had the Art Morrisons and you had the
the drop member is very unique. So what the drop member is a pancaked cross member, right? Which no one enjoyed doing. I've done them. It's not fun. No one wants to do that.
So for the audience, if you don't know what a pancake drop member is, you take your drop member out. You're essentially cutting. You're sectioning it out
the center
so
and
that
weld it back together.
Yep. So you can lift everything up, so the truck can go down.
Yep.
Okay. So Nate did that, and do you think that he'll get credit for the drop member? Do you think he'll get credit as what I would definitely consider the godfather, without a doubt, of our C10 lineage?
He was not only there in the form of product but also support, like you said, how was he welding when he was on the forum answering anyone's questions? Hey, how do I tighten my wheel? He's like, hey, I got you.
It's like he welded during the day and then he put the kids to bed and then he sat there at night, know. And I don't remember what I asked him 10 years ago, but it'd be fun to have him back on. So that was kind of my thought, is look back to the top 15 or not the top 15, but my first 15.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then go back and get them back on.
Yeah.
So we'll see. For you, definitely the chassis stuff, your truck. What would you say when you think about the scene since you were that kid looking at the forum and now where it is today? And then as a business owner as well, as a 5-year business owner, as a guy who was wrenching on semis, as a guy who built the 80 in his garage, as a kid, or however, and then you look at now and you're reminded, and it's got to feel a little bit like, wow, this is my shop.
Yeah, this has become a business for us, which is. It definitely takes some fun out of it for me.
Yeah.
The get down, like that used to be better than Christmas for me, to go and just hang out, meet people and look at trucks and hang out. So I don't get to do that. Like I'm now working on the get down, as you are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so that side of it for me is, but what I'm not bitching about it. Like, you know, my job could be much worse.
Yeah.
So it's not horrible, but that has changed. And then as far as the scene goes, you know, I feel like if you open up a door and let so many people in, there's going to be some bad seeds. And I'm just blown away why there's not more in the C10 scene. Like, have we came across a few dudes that have taken people's money and they become known to be bad and they dip out of town? Yes, we have. But very, 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 very few when you consider the numbers. And I will stay till today. Most people that I meet, I mean, 99.9% of the people I meet are like good, solid dudes. Like, so I feel like this scene is created like a passage. People are like, hey, I want to be a part of that. Not because the trucks are so badass or whatever. Yeah, yes, they are. But because it's a group of good, solid dudes. And it's when it's like 5 guys, that's pretty simple to hold. And when it's like, what do you think the number is of people that are looking in on the scene and want to be a part of it? I'm guessing it's, I don't know, at least 25 people.
Maybe 30.
30 people.
You're right, though. That's funny that you say it that way.
Like, how is there so many good people?
Do you think we police our own?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Let me give you this example. I remember being a kid. My brother had a 70s Chevelle, right? LT1.
Mm-hmm. Was it black?
No, it was blue.
All right.
It's a cool car. It's really nice. Really, really nice.
So you guys
car.
have matching truck and car?
I know, it's kind of weird. He chose a blue and I chose a blue. Why is that?
Same blue?
No, totally different blue.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so yours is Bud Light blue. What's his?
His is off like a early Dodge Viper.
Oh, well, that's about the same.
It's kind of the same.
Not midnight blue.
Definitely not side by side. They are different, but
you know what we like to call it? Berland blue.
There, I guess so. It's better than Bud Light blue. So we went to this little get together of like Chevelle dudes, you know, and I was probably like, I was young, so I didn't really, but like the most I paid attention to, some guy was like arguing that his cam specs were like
how
way
young?
Cooler
14?
Yeah, I was probably 15,
okay.
14. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like, this is kind of stupid. And so I compared that to the first time going to like Dino's, right? And so like no one's talking about their cam specs and like this wasn't like a race car event, right? Like these were just like guys that had put Chevelles together and met up on a Saturday night. So to me, that's kind of like the early good Dino's thing, right? And it's like everybody's just hanging out, like maybe sneak a beer, like just cool people. We're not like here like.
I feel like when I go to truck shows, the trucks merely just got us there,
right?
And then
and that's what I'm saying.
And then the trucks become such a secondary thing.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, you want to admire them,
right?
You look at the build, you look at the process,
yeah.
But then you're like, all right, hey, how's it going? How's the kids? How's this? How's this? And again, I've said it a million of times. You know, the trucks bring us together, but the metal keeps you there, and the people keep you coming back.
It's great.
You know what
it's
I mean?
Wild,
Because you meet them. And you see that, and then you just want to be part of that. So as long as we can keep that up, a good question for you, because you've had some of these guys that have come into the scene and left the scene in your between Switch and between here. What do you think about that? Where we have guys that I think that's kind of something that we're looking at now, is where a guy's 40 to 55, he's made it, he's always wanted a C10. Maybe he doesn't understand the community and the culture. They spend a lot of money, they get 1, maybe 2 real high-end builds, and then they bail. And maybe they go to the mountain bikes or the motorcycles or the airplanes, or they go to the next adventure.
Yeah.
But we've seen that a little bit,
for sure,
where people kind of come in and come out, but the OGs stay the OGs.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's a hobby, right? And so some guys, one day they're mountain biking, next day they're building a C10.
But what happens when it's not a hobby? It's not your hobby anymore.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it is your hobby and it's your business.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it'll ever go away. Like to me, if you would call C10s or trendy, like there's a trendy thing, I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like if the trend dies, that's great. You know, like
I don't think it will.
No, I don't. What I'm getting at is this is what I like.
Yeah, I think you'll have flows and peaks and valleys, but I think these trucks.
Well, I think it's
classic trucks in general. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see in 5 to 10 years when we're sitting here or in a different shop, and there's OBSs and OBS Fords and
well, that's what I was just about to say.
And maybe a different trucks that are sitting here that are painted, that aren't patinaed, but high quality builds, high quality chassis, high quality labor and ingenuity. I don't see that's going anywhere. And you've set yourself to a level for people to know that this is a place to get and receive those things, and that's in a very short amount of time.
Well, lucky for us, there's a big variety of many year spans of these trucks that we love, right? So it's funny to me how I feel like they kind of come and go in trends. So like one year it's like, oh, the square bodies, and there's like just all these square bodies, and then now we're back to 67, 72. And I see it roll through the shop too. It's like, like the Apaches are super hot.
Yeah, you've got a couple Apaches sitting here. What would you say is your favorite to work on? Not. I think 67, 72 is your personal favorite.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite.
If you could build anyone, you would build that. But what's your favorite to work on and why?
I like the Apaches.
Why?
Yeah, engine bay room. They're very tall, so you could do very. You could like we're doing actually 2 of them right now that are like a tall deck LS with a high-rise intake and also like a air-to-water heat exchanger brick mounted under it, right? So this motor's like gigantic and the hood still closes, like without a cowl hood or whatever. So to me, like the Apaches, I think you could be really creative with the engine bay and keep the outside of the truck what I like, not touched. So.
Yeah. Well, and you can get away with like the character on this one right here is unbelievable. Okay. So you've got one of my questions was the scene in the last year, your personal truck, it's hidden away. Do you think you'll rebuild that truck someday?
I've thought about it. Yeah. It's like, why not? So that truck's on a stock chassis. It's got a CPP drop kit, so very, very 4.6, I think, maybe 4.5, right? Just hammered. So
hammered.
So yeah, I'd love to put a chassis under it, but I feel like it there's like a bit of nostalgia that comes with it, We did some really some things that like I learned. So we cut up a Camaro, right? Because at the time you like, well, at least we wouldn't buy an LS harness, and I don't even know if they existed at the time. So like we cut up this Camaro, like put the truck body in it. So like we welded the dash, no vintage air, like we put the Camaro AC unit in.
Oh wow.
Like so like, and I thought, like, dude, a new Camaro, like that's crazy, right? It was salvaged Camaro. I don't even remember. I don't think we paid more than $3,000 for the entire car, right? Because it was wrapped around a light pole. But engine training, gas tank, column, AC unit, radiator, harness. Like we took everything from it, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna have like this brand new truck, 67, 72, 72 body style, and put this Camaro dash in there, and it's gonna be like, well, like
people are gonna lose their minds.
Yeah, but I work really slow, right? So like it took me 5 years, and that car's outdated. It's not like the new model anymore. So now I have like this mid 90s looking dash, and I'm not hating on it, like, but I learned it's like, how crazy is it? Like we're doing one in here. It's got like a new Denali interior, and it's like, hey, the new Denali doesn't always stay new.
Yeah.
So that's going to be outdated. So I kind of learned, like, let's keep it classic. Like, try not to put this new crazy technology on the dash, because new technology doesn't stay new. So kind of go from like a more timeless feel.
So if you rebuilt your truck, would you go?
It'd be tough.
Would you go with that OG stuff? Because
I think
it's
I'd go
timeless?
back. Yeah, which means probably throw the cab away, because or set it on a pallet and keep it, because it's just crazy. Like
make it a mock-up. You'd be
oh,
too sad.
Break my heart, dude.
You'd be so sad.
Yeah.
Every time you came by the Berland blue mock-up cab, you'd have shed a little tear.
I mean, we cut that thing up so hard just to fit the AC unit, and like the whole dash got cut out to put a dash, and it'd be really hard to go back to. But I really do like when you get in a truck and it takes you back, and it feels like the year that it came from, and not 1990.
Man, I would almost love it if you just did that and left it alone and then just slammed it.
Yeah. How crazy would that be? Yeah, you have like these.
I have my
90s.
original 72 C10, and I bought it from the original owner. And there's times where I've thought I've missed the boat so long.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Will it come back?
No, yes. I just thought I'll leave it original, and original stance, all original.
Oh, I see what you're
saying. Well, like
absolutely.
NOS, but I won't get NOS stuff, but I'll just make it look original because NOS stuff is just too expensive. But like you get in it, and it's a stock height. 72 Cheyenne, like OG, an OG. I mean, it's just not as cool as a slammed.
Yeah, but it's like that GMC there, dude. Like that 4-door GMC we looked at earlier.
Yeah,
like, dude, people freak out over that thing, and I'm like, it's just a stock truck. Like, don't get me wrong.
No, because what happens is everybody else has done a slam C10, so now when you see something that's OG, looks like the little ornament hanging from the tree.
Right.
You're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So for the audience, check out the shop video. But there's a 66 GMC crew cab, a big back window, long bed,
custom cab
that is just it's awesome. So, all right, taking you out. Do you have a builder? Or this is a good one. Because I think your style, again, I was just in Texas and Vastine was talking about you and the chassis. Do you have a builder or builders or shop that you look to for inspiration that you literally like? You're like, I don't ever want to miss a post from these guys
That's a great
or
question.
this group of people, because I feel like you're on that level for some people. Who's your top 3 people that you look at? Whether it's a dude in his garage. What's that? Brian might know, but what's that girl that's like in Australia?
Oh, dude.
6'4" or whatever. Jasmine.
6'4" stout.
Yeah.
That's one.
Get out of town.
Maybe number 1.
Get out of
Let's
town.
put this in perspective.
Out of town.
This cab.
So for the audience, 6'4" stout, but it's not number 6, number 4. It's like SIX FOR stout. So
is that right?
A stout is a Toyota.
Toyota stout.
And
then Jazzy, like GA.
Oh, that's her personal.
Green one. That's where she posts all of her other stuff.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
Jazzy green one.
Just look it up. I don't
So
know.
I don't know much about her.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, I watch every single one. That is the number one. Like that hurt, dude. Here's the deal.
That's you because you just want to be that person in the garage just doing your thing. And
I'm very envious.
Just some Alabama high test on, and Joy's watching the kids, and you're just doing your thing.
Dude, so that girl has turned this truck, a Toyota Stout. Maybe there's some nostalgia to it now, like everything, where like the value of that truck went up. But on a good day, I'm guessing that truck is the best condition, $5,000, right? Like,
yeah.
And if that truck were in a shop doing the work that she's doing, that's $100,000, easy $100,000 cap. Like,
yeah.
We're going to do that to a 64 Toyota Stout.
Per labor.
Love it.
Per labor. And she just does it.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, it's killer.
She is cranking away.
It's killer.
I feel like the other guy that would be that way that I used to watch is it Magic Mike? The guy that
3D
works
Magic
for
Mike,
yeah,
Roadster Shop.
Yeah. His stuff was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we have those people who's somebody else that you watch that's maybe C10 derived or truck derived or maybe not. You watch these guys that are building just amazing stuff on social media, and we talk so much crap about social media because it is the demise of society.
Yeah.
Cell phones. Once we got cell phones, it's all downhill from there. But I think that there is some really fun stuff, and there's some people out there that are building some stuff that is so killer.
Yeah, I'm having a really hard time thinking who it is, but
it's not.
Dude,
it's not Blake Stoner.
Dude, I love Stoner stuff.
No, it's not Blake Stoner.
I like everything that he does. Like I like his style,
except for the pinstripe rocket penises. You like that?
Yeah.
He puts rocket penises on everything he builds.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, like his 5 SEMA
I know
trucks.
What you're saying.
He has some pinstriper do a rocket penis.
I'm
man.
like,
really, dude? With
this
the rocket
is traditional
penises?
hot rod, and we're calling it rocket penis. Oh, okay. Now I can't unsee it. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Dude, I love Boris's stuff, like street machinery. Like they have really nice stainless work, and like we have a truck here that they did the, little patina blend on that dude. Jerome Boris, I think he's a rock star.
Jerome Boris, and then that's why I think Brian is a good guy. Okay, so let's go this way. You could you have your 72 that looks like a 70, your step side. You could build any truck What are you building? And how are you building it?
I would say I'd probably go Blazer at this point. Because I got the daughters. Let's put them back there and let's make it a family event.
Full. What are you building though? You had a 76 as a kid.
I'd go bagged.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2-wheel drive bagged, obviously.
Drive, yeah.
And then would you go square? Would you go full top?
I don't know. Because it's probably just not really in my cards right now. Like
no, you have all the cards.
I would definitely. Okay.
No cards. You have all the money.
I love the one Sick Chops did. So you take a early '60s.
Oh.
And you cut a Suburban
so
down
you
and make
Suburban
a Blazer.
into a Blazer.
Yeah.
But you lose the convertible.
Yeah, I don't know that I need a dude. I'm not a convertible guy.
Yeah.
Nah, I sweat, man. I need AC.
I know, but weather is you're gonna drive it from October to March.
We actually hey, I'll be honest. I've said that I'm not a convertible guy. We just did a 55 Bel Air convertible, and I'm like, man, this is nice. My hair was blowing in the breeze. You know what that's like, right?
No, I don't. I don't. It's like, the problem with convertibles is for me is sunburn. Like it's gonna roast it, toast it.
Yeah.
You know, I do like a full top or a half top because a 76 on up, obviously to a 91, is you get the cab integrity, you get a little shade over it.
I get it.
But it is funny because you can always put a Benami top on it, and
I like the way they look like that. If they're lifted, on the lowered, it's kind of some safari weirdness.
Safari wilderness with the full top?
No, with the safari top lowered.
Oh yeah. There's what's his face, NorCal. He's got that little race truck, but it's like that. But it is cool when you think about a full top convertible, so 75 and older.
Yeah.
Some people just don't realize that a 75 is a full top because they think it's like 73, 74. It did go to 75. So
that's not like a half year thing? I thought it was 2
year. It is.
Year.
Well, I know, 75 and then 76 is full top. Whatever reason, they decided to change it. Because most of the time, you get a 2-year increment.
Right.
So you get 73, 74. For whatever reason, 75 and then 76.
Okay, I didn't know 75.
So 75 is a full top. Yeah. So would you go 67 to 72, and so that'd be a full top, and then you'd go like this.
Yeah, I like that one.
Oh, hard to beat that.
Yeah.
So
honestly, that one there is so funny, dude. Like the owner's super cool, like local dude, like awesome guy. But
I love how he did the 68 trim on there too.
Yeah, 67, right? No markers.
Yeah.
So same idea.
Yeah.
But so me and Andy, right? We had to deliver a chassis.
And that's Rick's Towing.
Rick's Towing.
We still to this day don't know why.
Forum. Yeah, Forum nickname. That's what I was told.
Oh, a Forum.
Yeah.
He's been around since the Forum?
The Forums. No, he was on a different Forum.
Oh,
so
the Euro Forum?
I think he was into like 4-cylinder stuff.
Oh, he put Rick's Towing as part of it?
Yeah.
Still doesn't make sense.
We'll cross that bridge later.
We don't have time.
I love it though, dude, because it's like a dude was in here today and he was like, "Hey,
where's Rick?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, my name's Andy." He's like, "Oh shit, been calling you the wrong name for a long time."
You need one of those.
There was a truck at your show, a tow truck. Somebody brought out that said Rick's Towing on the side, and I was like, "Bro,
that is the guy from." That truck was out of Ashland. Is it Ashland? Not Ashland. Ash Fork. Up off of the 40 and between Williams and Flagstaff, and that truck was there forever.
Really?
Yep, Rick's Towing.
That's cool.
Yeah. He needs that truck, or at least the door.
Right, it just take the door.
Okay, so you'd build a first-gen Blazer.
Yep.
You'd put it on the ground. You do coilovers or bags?
Bags.
Okay, bags, and you do it on a Art Morrison chassis. And you would, what else would you do? What color?
Oof.
Painted or patina?
I'm a patina man. Because here's the deal. The only reason I'm doing this Blazer, this is not happening, by the way.
No, it is. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's happening.
Joy already said.
Yeah, she said, write a check.
She's the boss.
It'd probably be cheaper to have somebody else build this for us. Think?
No, you're going to do this at your garage.
Oh, yeah, in my 2-car garage. Okay, cool. All right.
So what color? Because you're going to go all
I'm going patina, dude.
But what color?
Turquoise.
They didn't really make a turquoise Blazer. Only
Travis. Oh yeah, we're in that body style. Yep. I apologize. Then I like the green.
Oh, medium olive.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's there you go. It's that color right there.
Yep, I like my olives.
Yeah,
I like my olives.
Medium olive.
I do like that one. Actually, dude, we're getting I wish this truck landed, but it's a couple days out that we just bought it out of Oklahoma.
Oh, that's the one the Johnny G truck.
No, this is a long bed step side.
Oh,
we're cutting it. We're
Okay.
gonna metal ox it, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's a blue patina, and dude, I kind of like that. There's not a lot of blue patina trucks like that. It's like a navy blue.
What year?
This is a '67.
Yeah, that's a little bit lighter blue. Whatever happened to the truck that was like in Texas? I told Johnny to buy it, and you talked to him, and he said you bought it for a customer.
Oh, we did, we we put a down payment on it, and
Didn't go get it.
nope.
Okay, so it's gone.
I don't know.
Yeah, I told Johnny to buy that. It was cheap. It was like $6,000.
Yeah, there was something about it the owner didn't like.
Oh.
So
The owner that was going to buy it.
yeah.
Customer.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, customer was gonna buy it.
Because I want to say it was like 67, 68.
The 67 for
It
sure.
was a long bed and it was baby blue.
Yep. And I do think that was a nice little truck.
Oh my God.
I thought so.
For the price. I said it to Johnny.
I don't remember what broke his heart about it, but the owner, like, we literally gave the guy money. Like I
lost it and left
yeah,
it.
Well, I would never. Here's the
Yeah.
deal: if I'm saying, hey, I'm buying this, and I pull out, like, you can keep my deposit.
Yeah.
Because that was a kind of a funny deal, but
So it's gone. So it's not there anymore. So yeah, I sent it to Johnny, and Johnny goes, this is funny. I go, you got to go buy this. And I think it was in Texas. And he goes, I think
but it
Berland's-
was a fleet side. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I know, and I had my heart on a fleet
Yeah,
side.
but I was like, just buy it and cut it down.
Well, he wanted a step side.
My
customer. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's what you got now. You got a step side.
We got a step side.
And it's the same customer.
Yep.
There you go.
He's on his way.
Okay. Grinder's got to go home. What do you think? This is a good one. So I was going to say, what do you think High Test looks like in 5 years? But this is such a good one. As a guy who, and we've already talked about it a little bit, but how do you fight the good fight every day? Because you, as a business owner, as efficient, but you as a person clash.
Yeah.
How do you fight that? Fight that with Joy, fight that with Chris, fight that with yourself, fight that with your employees. And it's like, listen, I want to do the best by my customer. Every single thing that leaves here has my name on it. But I got a bill. And the one thing that I think is crazy in our scene, and I'd love to do a podcast on this someday, is if you go to a GM dealership and you say, I need the water pump changed, the oil changed, and do an alignment, they're going to tell you by the book that it's this much money.
Yep.
But when it comes through this door, those doors, any door, anywhere, anyhow, some guys, and we've talked about this with some guys on the pod, it's an open checkbook, and it's a struggle because there's no like, hey, it's this much every,
right.
It's like we're doing this, and then as a business guy, how do you manage making sure that the employees are only billing what they need to be billing,
right?
And then so that whole balance between who you are as a man, who you are as a business owner, and who you are as the scene.
Yeah.
That custom work at what is your hourly rate here? $125.
Yep.
So pre-COVID, I felt like Arizona was $85 an hour.
Yep.
And then now, and it's been 5 years, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the real estate went up, the wage went up, everything, the parts that these guys are buying went up. It's $125 now. And in Arkansas, it's probably $85. And in
it could be, yeah.
And in Cali, it's $185.
Yeah.
So how do you balance all that? And then,
well, you have to be able to keep your lights on. Like that's most important. So we've been doing it 5 years now, so we should have some idea of like what the bottom dollar is. Going hard on the olives.
Yeah.
You know what I need to know?
Can you ever really go not too hard on olives?
That's going to be a lot. Fallout.
No, they're jammed up jelly tight.
Look at that.
There you go.
That worked out well.
Well, we're about ready to wrap it up. Grinder doesn't want no olives.
So yeah, we did. That's gone, by the way.
Yeah, I topped it off. I said we're done.
How much sodium is in here? Are we going to be in
500 per olive.
I don't even know what sodium is. Is that salt?
Yeah.
I heard
Salt is sodium.
Heard it's bad for you.
It's good for you.
Yeah, I think the shops that are successful.
Last beer before we go.
right.
Grinder, do you want anything? No. All right.
I think the key
Cheers
to
to
it
Grinder.
because people
Cheers
are,
to the good life. GOUDE, good life.
people are really trusting us and they're leaning on us, and every shop that you have to operate with integrity. You know, like you said, if your guy is, you know, fucking off, right, and he's taken 8 hours to you know, change the oil on a car.
Ooh, I just hit that. Did it turn it off? Did I turn that one off, Brian? Is that light still on? That light's still on? Okay. It's off? Yeah, I hit it.
Hit it again.
Yeah, I hit it again. All right.
Hello.
Yeah, when I was moving it, I hit it. That would have been bad.
We're back.
And we're back. Don't edit any of this. It's all good.
Oh, I think there's got to be some good editing going on.
How many are 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6?
I got 4 down. I'm on 5.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel okay.
Yeah, you feel good.
Yeah.
You look good.
I want to dance.
All right. Nah. Oh, speaking of that, before we answer the final thing, I forgot to write that down. Dive bars.
Oof.
Dude, you're a dive bar pimp.
How do you know that?
What do you mean, how do I know that? I know everything. We've talked about this. I want to go dive barring. So in Arizona, in the valley, what's your favorite dive bar?
Some rough dive bars.
I know mine.
I'm not promoting this. Do you know what the Dirty Verde is?
No, I don't.
Palo Verde.
No, I know what the Verde is, but I don't know the Dirty Verde. You mean the river?
No, Palo Verde is on Broadway and Roosevelt. Is that right? I think it's Roosevelt.
Like in Tempe?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dude.
I've never been there.
It's a hitter.
Oh,
yeah.
Like Dirty Drummer style.
No, that's classy.
Wow.
This
the
is a good
Dirty
one.
Verde.
Yeah, this is a good one.
All right. So that's on Broadway and Roosevelt.
I feel like my character's getting judged because I know about that place.
No,
that's a great one.
No, I think it's...
dude, I've had some good times. Joy's been there.
Yeah.
You know? She's very scared to go to the bathroom.
When you met Joy, was it the Regal Beagle or Good Time Charlie's?
It was at that time, it was Good Time Charlie's.
All right. Salute to Good Time Charlie's.
Yep.
I know the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great place. I haven't been there in a long time.
So the Dirty Verde on Broadway and Roosevelt.
Don't look into this one.
Oh, my God.
Don't dig too deep into this one. That's a good one. Dude, I remember as a kid going to, now it's Champions in Gilbert.
Champions is so funny how it became popular for young kids. Yeah. I've taken Big Fish there a few times, or we've went, but yeah.
Stoner's been.
Yeah.
Stoner's been.
It's funny how that place was kind of the dive bar, and now it became chicly cool.
Yeah.
I like Tom Ryan's.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, obviously you got Jolie's right there.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've never been to Jolie's.
Wow.
But it does really interest me because we drive past it when I'm taking my daughter to school every day. There's a parking lot full of cars at 7 a.m. So are those people that had to leave their car there? Because if so, that's my kind of bar.
No.
Or is it people that are just like maybe it's the midnight shift?
No,
or the
so
night shift?
I'll tell you.
What's going on there?
I'll tell you.
What's going on?
Okay, so as a firefighter, this is like not that far from our houses, and it used to be called Chewy's back in the day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was Chewy's, which was like they have like 3 or 4 or 5 of them.
Different than Chompy's.
No, Chompy's is bagels.
Yeah.
Chewy's was like a Mexican food place or whatever.
Oh.
So Jolie
Gotcha.
worked at Tom Ryan's, which used to be called group therapy back in the day.
Didn't know that either.
Yes. So group therapy. And this is like a mile from one of the fire stations. And this woman worked for Tom Ryan, and she could make just a killer Bloody Mary. She prints money. And what she does is she opens for the Intel early shift getting off.
So it is a night shift thing.
Yep.
I guess.
So
I
there's
see.
been plenty of times in the fire department where we get off at 0800 when we get off in the morning that guys will be like, hey, we're all going to Jolie's to have Bloody Marys and beers or whatever,
great.
right? So if you ever go by there on a rainy day when construction cannot be
I'd imagine.
Cannot be constructing. Yeah, we know who you are, poised hipster. We know who you are, Mike. You little soul glow in the hair, looking all pimpish.
Oh, bummer we got rained out today.
That bar absolutely prints money.
Really?
I mean, just
dude, there's cars.
Have you
at
ever
7
went by
a.m.
there when it's not?
No,
packed?
that's what I'm saying.
So good, cold, cheap beer. Pretty okay bar people behind, barmaids. Can you say barmaids anymore?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what you can say anymore, but yeah. And then Tom Ryan's is literally like right around the corner.
Yep.
And that's where she was making Bloody Marys.
So you could go dancing.
Yeah, I like Tom Ryan's because they got live old school country, and you can go dancing, and you got cheap beer.
Yeah.
And you got old chicks that are out there looking for young dudes. So it's always funny to watch that.
Absolutely.
If you ever want to get in a good fight, Jolie's.
Jolie's is a good fight.
It used to be the Draft House across the street. I've probably been on 5 shootings and over 50 good fights. And then
I remember that place. There was always shootings there.
Across the street where Tom Ryan's is, or Jolie's, it was called the Corral. And the Corral was country western in your day, and then it turned into
What about Norton's Corner?
Norton's was legit. My first house was right by Norton's.
Yeah, I know. Well, you are now.
Yeah, but my first house was right there.
Oh, you didn't
it's
move
called
very
Dobson
far.
Place. Well, I moved to Queen Creek and then I moved back.
I see.
But yeah, Norton's Corner. So we digress onto Dive Bar Diva. We have the Dive Bar Diva. So do you go to the Dirty Verdi often? No.
I haven't been.
What's your favorite place to go to?
Now,
if you
man.
enjoy,
We got
or
babies
like,
now.
you're like, babe, we need to go out. Where are we going?
That's a good question.
Do you remember?
We don't go out, dude. We got a baby. We don't go out.
Well, before the baby.
Before the baby.
How about when you met? You were at Good Time Charlie's, and then you would take her out on the town. Where would you take her to that wasn't Good Time Charlie's?
That's a good question.
What about the Dirty Blonde that's right there by your old house?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Good cheeseburger there.
Oh, I've never eaten there.
Yeah.
And then there's another place that's it's up the road. I'm trying to think. It's more dive bar.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Closer to the old shop.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of that place.
So easy. But I've often thought how fun it would be. I told my wife I want to start a show called the Dive Bar Diva and let her go, and we just go into all dive bars. Americana is dive bars.
Yeah.
Whether you realize that, maybe we should do a dive bar podcast.
High-end
I
bars.
love dive bars.
A drink's $30, for a cocktail.
Nah.
It's fun. It's foaming and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like I'd rather. You got any green olives for that?
Do you have the smell? That's the thing.
You
If you don't have the smell, like I'm talking American Legion. I'm talking when you walk in, I don't really want the smoke. I want the spilt beer or built smear, however, depending on how many beers I've had. But I want the spilt beer. Yes. Grinder, do you have a favorite dive bar? He doesn't go to dive bars.
There used to be one in SoCal called Bahama Mamas.
Bahama Mamas in SoCal. When we say SoCal, where is that? What does that mean?
Inland Empire, Southern
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know, but I'm the what? Marina Value, and it was called the Bahama Mama. Did you know that at what's that shaved dive place? They have the Bahama Mama.
Bahama Mama Rama.
Yeah, they have that.
That's with the little ice cream in there.
Yeah. But what's that? It's called shaved ice. What is it called?
Bahama Bucks.
Bahama Bucks. At Bahama Bucks, you can get a Bahama Mama
Rama. Yeah.
And it's shaved ice with ice cream in the
cream
bottom, and it's really good. That's right. Okay. So you are a dive bar diva. I wanted to make sure I hit that. And then, take it out with that. So I don't even remember where we were. We were talking about, I think I was talking about all 3 facets of just the way that the scene is. I don't remember. Do you remember what I was talking about? Chassis expert, all chassis, some high end, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to run a business. That's what I was talking about. Because you're so particular and you are, how do you manage it? The balance of being precise, yet I've got to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And my style and my name. And then do people trust you because you are billing by the minute?
Yeah.
I've heard some shops, they have like an iPad. And they literally are like, clock in. This is what I worked on. Take a picture. Done. How do you manage?
Similar concept to
how's
that.
AZ High Test manage it?
Similar concept to that. I would say, and I'm probably going to get yelled at this.
By Joy?
Yes.
Okay.
Or others. But I don't bill for my time. So like if, for example, like the dually that's behind us, like we've never done.
The floating dually. We call it the floating dually.
So
Who owns
I've
that?
never
Who's
done,
getting that?
Let's see. That's actually a dude, HS Customs.
Mm.
Do you know who that is?
Nope.
I think it's Utah. Guy's name's Camp. Seems like a super cool dude.
Yeah.
I don't know how he found us, but it's here and
PB Fab.
yeah, PB Fab. So
Okay.
that's a 4-door dually long bed, bagged.
That does not look like a 4-door dually long bed.
Yeah, with an LBZ in it.
Wow.
So super crazy.
You
concept.
still haven't said. So crew cab?
Crew cab.
So square body.
Square body.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oddly enough, we have 3 of those in the shop right now.
Okay. Square body long bed crew cabs.
That's a hot truck right now.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I think that's one of the coolest Polars of all time.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna. But anyhow,
hard to beat that.
So that truck, like,
especially with an LBZ.
we've never done one. So like, where does the air system go, and how do you do this, and how do you do that? So I go over there and we just kind of like put tape on it and sketch it out. And
I love you don't bill for your time.
Yeah.
Do you feel
to me that makes me feel good?
Do you feel
I don't feel any pressure.
Do you feel like that's hard to not bill for your time, or is that just part of the AZ high test 125?
Yeah,
because you're like you're just getting me. I'm the expert that's bouncing from all my guys.
Yeah, there's times like if my guys listen, they're gonna laugh because I literally, this is my lift and I rack a car there like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna work on this, and I never like it'll.
I hate for a while.
Because I do other things. I do not normally do hands-on stuff, but there's very few times like if we're jamming and I jump in, like I'll bill for my time. Like I'm not designing. I don't bill for design.
Do you ever think that you would get to that point where you literally are started in a 2-man garage and now you can barely find time because you're so busy managing?
No, dude, you know what I really think it is? I think that in my head, I'm good at what I do to some degree, and I'm really not. Meaning, like, the guys that I've hired are better than me. They're better than me.
What is wrong with you? You are really,
No, what I'm saying is when we're actually doing it, like, I could tell you this.
That's a great problem to have, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. If I look at chassis that I did out of my 2-car garage, like that I physically plumbed, like most of my guys would laugh at them in person. Like,
but don't you think the guys that are plumbing learn that from you as well? Like you didn't just hire them and they were the greatest plumbers.
No, dude. Well, you know the story of Brian and how he came to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he whoops my ass, dude. I could not plumb no, I don't know anyone in the world that can plumb like that guy. Like that's all he does all day, every day. Like
so tell them just a scotch about Brian, just so they're not like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Yeah. Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brian lived in California, and he was like, hey, can I come work for you? And I had talked to him through Instagram. He's got a really cool Apache truck, bagged, right? And he did a bunch of work. So like we had talked, and he was like, how do you set up your height sensors and whatever? And I'm starting my business, so I just shell out information. Let me help you, you know? And so that was our relationship. Like I didn't really know the guy, and he was like, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Arizona. Can I work for you? And I'm like, yep, that's fine. Like you own a truck, I assume you'll be great, you know? Like, and then he's like, hey, I'm driving out there. I'm coming to your shop. Can I work for you? And I'm like, yep, that's cool. Yeah, sure. You got a job. He's like, hey, dude, I'm going to buy a house. I'm selling my house in California. Are you sure I have a job? And I'm like, yep, cool. Like that, I don't really know. And I'm like, well, what's your experience? Like you built this truck. And he's like, no. Like I just kind of did some touch-up things on it. I do commercial drywall. And I was like, yeah, cool. You got a job. Like, whatever. How could this go south, right? Like if you're that adamant about working here, how could this go south? So he comes in, and I'm like, hey, like, what are your strengths and weaknesses, you know? And like he brings in these rulers, dude. I love this story. So he brings in these rulers, dude. They measure in 64ths of an inch. So like I grew up, my dad did machinist work, right? And so I grew up reading calipers, right? So you read very fine measurements, right? But like I can't read a ruler in 64ths because it's not a caliper style. And I'm like, can you read this? You know? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, imagine if you were doing drywall and you were off by a 16th of an inch here. Imagine how by a 30-foot ceiling, right? You're off by feet. That's probably bad math. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. But you're off by a considerable amount.
Couple inches, okay?
Yeah, but it looks like dog shit, right? So, like, dude, what I came to find out is he was a rock star at that. Like, he could do these commercial drywall applications that he was second to none at. Like, so I'm like, oh, he's a tube bender. Like, he just doesn't know how to do tube. He's like, yeah, I did the brake lines on my truck and whatever. And I'm like, no. So I go, let's spend a couple weeks and we're going to set up some equipment. I've been dreaming of this equipment for a long time. a concept of how to bend tubing that no one makes a tool. You can't go online and Google and buy a tool. Go, let's make this tool. We're going to make you a toolbox, and you're going to be the tube bender. At the time, Arizona High Test was tube bending.
Yes.
And so this guy comes in. He's bent tubing, but never to this caliber, definitely. And really, that's not what he did for a living. And I'm like, he's my guy.
Yeah, he's like Rain Man because he can look at the numbers.
Yes.
But don't you think, too, that took you to realize that? Isn't it funny how life works?
Yeah, I don't know.
This guy's in Cali. He's doing custom drywall at 1/64th an inch, and then now he's plumbing, high-end builds.
Yeah,
because you realize that he's that Rain Man and can do that and be so precise, and it just took that mentor that at one point you were looking for, and now you became.
Yeah, no, honestly, when he came over, I would have never thought like, oh, I need somebody to bend tube, because I did the tube. Quite honestly, Chris was starting to do some of it because I'm running a business, and at that time maybe we did need Brian. I just didn't want to admit it, but I didn't hire him to come bend tube. Like it was probably a 20-minute decision where I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna work.
Well, you hired him because he said you were gonna hire him.
Yeah,
because he's moving out.
Yeah, well, I'm like, hey, he's got a hot rod. This will be fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
have you learned now that just because a guy has a hot rod, that might not be the best?
No.
Have you had to let anybody go because they were just completely
oversold
completely. Themselves?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you find that it's hard to keep people because that is the number one thing that people are struggling with? They always need people.
Well, dude, like we were kind of touched base on this a little bit earlier. Like, dude, this is a hungry little town. So like there is lots of shops and there's a lot of work out here, and there's a handful of talented people. And so
you're all fighting for the same people?
Well, I would, again, I'm very biased on my opinion here. I would never reach out to somebody else's employee. I feel like it's very disrespectful. I'd never do that.
But if they reach out to you?
Oh, dude, I can tell you that, yes,
a lot of
people reach out to my guys all the time. So, especially with social media, it's like, hey, do you tag your guys? And a lot of big shops don't tag their guys because, dude, they'll get stolen. And it's like, I would never not want to tag my guys, dude. I want my guys to want to be here. Like, and I feel like they want to be here. So as far as hanging on to guys, like, I feel like we're a little family here. And if, as long as they do a good job, which they do, they have a job forever.
Well, the funny thing too about that is a lot of times if they might leave, they might come back because they think that the grass is greener, just like you did at one point. And you come back and then you're like, hey, I got this guy because he left and now he knows that it's not that much greener. Yeah. And we got a great environment here. And if you don't want to be here, good luck. I'll help you. I'll be the best I can for you. No different than your own son, right?
The other side of the coin is this. Like we've interviewed some absolute rock stars. Like I know their worth. Like I know that they are what they say they are. I've seen their work. Like it's phenomenal. Their attitude doesn't fit here. They can't work here.
Yeah.
They can't have a job.
How do you figure that out off of just a quick interview?
I could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been wrong, and they can't work here. Like a couple guys have had a job and can't work here, but really, I can't compare ourselves to other shops, but our turnover rate here is very, very low.
Yeah.
Like people come in, and I want them to be here, and I want them to want to be here. Like again, we hire off, dudes that are talented, but not even just that. Like they want to be artists. Like they want to be able to just do their craft to the best of their ability.
Yeah. No, and work in a place that, I mean, it is a dream job. You know what I mean? It's nice. You have a big shop. You have a lot of high-end builds. You're not, this isn't, and I was going to say S10ville, but I don't even mean that negatively. I mean, it's going to come across negative. Sorry. But there's some really high-end builds here. So that's it. That's 300. I mean, Grinder's overtime rate after X amount of hours he's debilitating. But I just feel like what AZ High Test does and what you are about and your shop and looking at just really meeting you at Cess, drinking Mountain Dews and burritos, 2-car garage, your first shop, this shop, which is, I mean, your first shop is to die for, and to think that you're in this shop and you're already bursting at the seams is it's such a great thing, but at the same time, I can feel like you struggle with the balance between, I've got my family, I don't want to get too big, I want to be able to manage it and still build really high-end stuff. And I got to think this is about it. Anything more than this, and it starts to be just, what is it? More money, more problems?
For sure, yeah.
And you just get to be like, and I don't know that anybody knows where that is. When I see it to get down, you come to the reunion, you got, one truck, tent. Hey, I'm not dying for, I do feel like you're like, hey, how can I support you? I don't even need to be there. You've never said this. I don't even need to be there because I can barely keep up with the work, but this is part of the scene, and I want to be part of the scene.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Absolutely.
And he's never even said that to me, but I don't know how I feel that way. But I feel that way because I have other people who they don't handle it the way you handle it. So I don't know. It's funny. So salute to 5 years, 10 years for C10 years.
Yeah.
And number 300. Anything that you would want to add or share as we wrap up the pod? Don't look at Brian because he'll give you
I've got nothing clever to say right now. I'm glad that we finished a whole bottle of olives.
We finished the olives.
Healthier than another bottle.
And we finished probably almost a 12-pack, except for some of them were happy beers.
This one was a dead.
And Modelo's. So we're good. Yeah, keep building. Rad stuff. Keep slinging those parts. And what would you say is the biggest challenge that you have? Balance?
Balance, yeah. Yeah.
You have 12 employees. Does Joy count as one of those employees?
She's one of 12.
And you're number 13.
I don't know.
Well, you don't bill.
Yeah. I'm just kind of here in the background. Yeah, no, I guess I am number 13. Yeah,
so you're lucky number 13.
Yeah.
And you run around all day. What does a day consist of as Jason Berland?
That's a rough question.
What time did it start at 6? You start at, the doors open at 8. The guys get here at 8?
I let my guys set their own hours. So a lot of guys want to come in at 6 a.m. I think that's our earliest guy now. And I don't like one person being here without another person. So as long as we're all doing that, I'm good. So 6 a.m. and then
What time do you get here? 7?
It depends on the day.
Kids?
Yeah, kids. Generally around 8, but sometimes I'll come in with the guys at 6. That could be kind of rare. I do a lot of running around in the morning, and then I do a lot of like paperwork side of things in the morning.
Are you getting to the point where you need a shop manager?
I got one.
Oh,
I just hired.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah,
he's the bad
Mike
guy.
is his name. Yeah, yep.
What's the story? Where's he from?
He worked at a company down the street from here. They did a lot of like repair style work, and then
repair on trucks or cars.
It's kind of crazy. So they had like a hot rod program where they would do repair on hot rods. So like, hey, I have this 34 Ford and I need my oil changed, or I need a Holley sniper kit, probably similar to like a Shift Speed, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, he managed, to my understanding, he managed that shop, or managed that section of that shop. So yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, well, I got to feel like it takes a big.
It's another world for him, you know. So
tension off of you too.
It's coming around, and I see it being beneficial. The difference is like I have a really hard time letting go of a lot of things.
I was just gonna say that. Do you find that it's hard to let go?
Yeah,
and turn it over to Joy and Mike.
Absolutely. So. Especially, let me just give an example. So it's like, this, we're doing this project and I need Dakota digital gauges, right? And it's like, well, which ones?
Do you have a guy that is your parts guy?
I've always been the parts guy.
Ooh,
we're kind of, moving Mike into that. So it's like, yeah, Dakota, like, let's get the gauges need to work.
HTX, RTX.
Come on, which ones do you want?
VHX.
So we're trying to like match the other features of the vehicle and pick the right gauges. Or I don't know. I'm so like non-political about the industry in general. So like maybe that one needs classic instruments. I don't know if that breaks your heart or not, but there's trucks that do, you know, or dude, we're doing a truck with auto meters, and like I'm a big gauge guy coming from like semi-truck world. So let's light that entire dash up with 30 auto meter gauges. I'm into that too. So it just kind of depends on the build, right? Like there's not necessarily like a style, as long as it's done clean, you know, that is the style, I guess.
Does Mike know that though? Does Mike know to go auto meter or classic?
He's
or Dakota?
learned. Like I'm not sure that's. I think I told him this, that I want you to know what I'm thinking without me telling you what I'm thinking, and I don't want you to be wrong. I need you to just know and
don't be
right.
and don't be stressed about it, Mike. You'll be fine.
I feel so
out,
bad
Mike.
for the dude. Like, yeah, it's probably
younger guy, older guy.
He's about our age. Yeah.
All right. So, what's it start out if somebody's watching this and they're in Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Ohio, California, Arizona? What's a entry level spot here? Start out at and are you hiring for? Hey, we're always hiring if somebody wants to come work here.
Yeah, I to be honest, I don't know that I would hire somebody right now. I guess if they were the perfect fit, you know, we've kind of grown into the shop, and I'm getting comfortable with the size, right? Like I came from a 2-car garage, right? So this isn't like, oh, let's hire 50 guys. Like I care. Like I want everybody producing. I want everybody producing great work, not good work, great work. And so to just hire anybody is very difficult. So I guess if the perfect person came in through the door, I'd give them a chance, you know, but we're not actively hiring right now. We have a good little family. And
I think the difference too, that's good to hear that, is a lot of guys I do see are always hiring.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're chasing guys.
Well, we were kind of that way for a while, and you know, we've kind of hit a certain point, right? So like if we chose to expand our paint program, right? Like there's a minimum of 3 people that need to come in.
Yeah. Man, that's tough. Painters are hard.
Yeah.
It's good that you have Mason.
Yeah, Mason's been a blessing, dude. He's great.
Paint is tough, man. Paint. I just talked to Brian Bastine, and he's like, dude, paint is, and he's the painter.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
So, you heard it. He's not looking for good. He's looking for great. Number 300, Jason Berland, AZ High Test. That's it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks, brother.
There you go. Awesome stuff, right? Thanks, Jason, for sitting down. Grinder, thanks for putting it together, filming it. And for you guys, the audience, thanks for tuning in. 10 amazing years, episode 300. Thank you guys so much. I'm probably going to take a little break. I got to get some stuff done before the get down, but I'm sure we'll record 1 or 2 more before then. But yeah, I need to get caught up on some other stuff. So get caught up with Jason and 5 or 6 episodes prior to this. We appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Late.